What's going on, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Also available online. You can stream it up at sportstalk1051.com. You got your Google and Alexa home devices. Also, the app, the Sports Talk app, and the video stream up and rolling right now. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Appreciate you making us a part of your starts on this Thursday morning with us. It is NBA trade deadline day, so we'll see if the Bucks make a move before the deadline or not. And they've got a big game tonight. They finally return home, but doesn't get much easier because they take on the Minnesota Timberwolves in Milwaukee tonight. So far nothing of note. With what's in terms of the trade deadline and such. T-Wolves making a move, getting Marcus Morris from the Pistons. But other than that, kind of. I mean, there's still rumors and such, but sure seems like if the Bucks want to make a splash, if they want to make a move, they're gonna have to give up Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, Marjon Beauchamp, their second-round pick from the Blazers in the Damian Lillard trade, which is an early second-round pick projected right now. But odds are that, well, what are the odds, in your opinion, that you think the Bucks will make a move by 2 p.m. today? So we're less than 8 hours away. Less than 8 hours from that deadline. If anything happens to pop up this morning when we're on, we'll definitely keep you posted and let you know over there. But big game tonight too for the Bucks, taking on the T-Wolves. So staying with hoops, an ugly, ugly, ugly loss by the Badger men's basketball team last night, falling to last place Michigan, 72-68. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. Stephen Crawl going through a funk right now for the Badgers. I mean, it was just they couldn't get get over the hump, and they just constantly, always consistently just down by a few and just couldn't climb out of that. But again, the paint, Badgers were outscoring the Wolverines in the paint, but settling for perimeter shots quite a bit last night. So, man, I mean, Chucky Hepburn, he at least, was attacking and shooting well. He shot 54.5% from the field, but man, and Stephen Crawl and the bench play. I mean, you look at a couple of those, those two things really kind of stand out in terms of this 3-game slide right now for the Badgers. But Stephen Crawl, whether it's not being aggressive on the offensive end, last night he was in some foul trouble. Only played 19 total minutes, 3 points, 1 of 4. And then you look at the bench, only 6 total points from the bench. A bench that at the beginning of the season was kind of a strength for this Badger team, and really not getting a ton of production out of it. I mean, Winter had 18 minutes. He led all bench players in minutes, only 1 point. Blackwell, who, the exciting freshman, but he's a little bit banged up, played just 11 minutes, 3 points for him. Connor Sejan, 10 minutes, nothing. AJ Storr, he did his thing, 20 points. But again, ugly loss for this Badger basketball team. And they're going to try to kind of right this ship, but it's going to be a little difficult going over to Rutgers on the road there and trying to right this and figure this out. They should. I mean, Wisconsin still think is the best team out there, but holy moly right now. What's going on here? So plenty of hoops talk coming at you. We'll get to that here in just a bit. The Brewers, another signing for the Brew Crew. According to reports, they're going to be bringing in backup catcher and possibly DH Gary Sanchez. Name sounds familiar. Played quite a bit for the Yankees, a little bit over there for the Twins, was with the Padres just this past year too. So two-time All-Star. Played a little bit for the Mets, was it last year too? So but Brewers looking to continue to add some bats on like 1-year deals. But Gary Sanchez coming in. Again, could be a DH option, definitely a backup catcher option to Contreras. He hasn't been putting up the numbers like he did, in his early Yankee days back in 2017 when he put up 33 home runs. 2019, he had 34 home runs. Just this past year, though, he did have 19 home runs in combined efforts with Mets and the Padres and such. But Brewers adding a little bit more bats, which probably for some Brewers fans are just like scratching their heads, like, okay, you're adding these bats to 1-year deals, and you still got, you traded Corbin Burns. What exactly is play? I think honestly, this is just it goes back to what Matt Arnold had said previously, and has said a few times. They're trying to find that balance of being competitive now, but also preparing for the future and being competitive for the future. So anybody sure seems like they're not the type of ball club that's going to be pushing all their chips into the middle unless they really, really feel like they're that close. But hey, again, kind of that whirlwind, right? I can't remember who it was that said it the other day, but it's like 1 year the Brewers offense is really good and the pitching's kind of meh. Then the pitching finally catch up. Pitching's really good. Starting pitching's really good. Then the offense is like meh. Now you're bringing in some veteran bats, hoping to get some more pop into that lineup. Something Brewers fans wanted for a long time now, at least for the last couple of years. And now you're looking at the pitching, and it's like, huh? You got Freddie at the top, Wade Miley, but if you can get 120 innings out of Wade Miley, you're probably thumbs up. Aaron Ashby's coming back. You got a little bit of unknowns after that. So, yeah. But hey, at least we're getting some bats. So maybe we'll be able to score some more runs here. But pitchers and catchers do report a week from today. Pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training a week from today. So getting there. We're getting there. Close to baseball season. So also on the dockets, we'll do some outdoor tidbits with our good buddy Jake Bolks, conservation warden from the great state of Wisconsin here, answering your questions. So if you have any questions for Jake, let us know. Hit us up with the text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen lines, 715-830-1912. Let us know if you have any questions so we can get those over to Jake ASAP. Also, we'll do a little receive or defer coming up at about 7:45 this morning. So, got any questions? You got any nominations for a receiver defer? We'll always take those. We'll always take some nominations for receiver defer. We want you to hang out with us and join us. All right. So, but we got hoops talk coming up here. We'll talk some Bucks with that trade deadline. Less than 8 hours away. Will deadlines spur actions? Will deadline spur actions for this Bucks team as they get set to take on the Milwaukee or the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight? We'll get you some of the latest rumors and rumblings out there. I mean, nothing really new or different, I should say, from the last few days. We've been kind of talking about some of the players out there. Been talking about, Andrew Wiggins and taking a look at it, him, Grant Williams from Dallas. You probably, Bucks fans may remember him a little bit more from when he was with Boston. Remember a couple of years ago in that playoff series, Game 7, and he was like just on fire at the end there. But sounds like Dallas wants a player like Bobby Portis in return straight up. So might be a little too high of a price tag at this point in time. But is there a player? Now, this is kind of directed towards maybe some diehard Bucks fans out there. But is there a certain player that you've heard potentially mentioned in some trade rumors, in some trade possibilities, where you'd be like, I'd be good with him. I'd be good with bringing him on in, knowing that you'd probably have to give up a guy like Bobby Portis. Would you be good with that trade package? So let me know. All right, hit me up with those texts, and then of course with hoops, we'll it'll be a little painful, but we'll recap that loss again by the Badger hoops team from Michigan right now. Are you? I mean, I don't really want to just say like, are you concerned about this team? Because I mean, for crying out loud, it's a 3-game losing streak, and you just lost to the last place team in the Big Ten. So I mean, you're a little bit concerned right now, but hopefully this is just a little bit of a small rough stretch here, and they can kind of turn it around and ride some momentum getting into the tournament. But no doubt, it's been a bad week, really bad week for this Badger hoops team. So, all right, let's get things going here. So we'll talk some hoops. We'll talk some Brewers fans. Your thoughts on the Gary Sanchez signing? Adding another bat to this lineup. Maybe the lineup kind of starting to take shape here for the Brewers. Could Sanchez and Reese Hoskins maybe kind of split time over there at DH? We know Christian Yelich is gonna play a little bit at DH as well. Maybe still looking for another backup first base option, or maybe you're looking for that third base. Could be Tyler Brown over there. So pitchers and catchers, it's getting close. It's getting close. So, well, what are your thoughts on the Brewers signing right now? Or maybe you're just like, I'm even more confused right now, man. I'm more confused of what's going on here. I don't know what to think of this at this point in time. So, all right, let's get things rolling here this morning. We'll take that first break, and then coming up in just a few minutes, we'll get things rolling on this Thursday morning. We'll mix it up, talk some hoops and some baseball. Coming up in just a couple minutes. Always looking to save a little money in our pockets, but we still need our essentials like our grocery items. So, how do you save some money while also getting what you need for you and your family? Well, it's Hy-Vee Perks. If you shop at Hy-Vee, you're already getting a great deal on quality items throughout the store, but now you can save more money with Hy-Vee Perks on different items each week. And you can also save some money at the gas pump with your Hy-Vee Perks. And who doesn't want to save a little extra money at the gas pump? Saving money is easy for you if you shop at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. So take advantage of these awesome deals and sales and stop on over at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire today. Maybe grab yourself for dinner tonight, the Thursday night steak dinner. Also, start to get your menu ready for the big game coming up on Sunday. What you got on the menu over there? Think about that, and then head on over to our good friends from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire and get your menu built up for that game on Sunday.
I stopped over there yesterday at Hy-Vee, got myself a steak for the grill, and I was also looking in the meat counter there, and they had stuffed mushrooms. You know, they're
Yep.
And I said, give me about 4 or 5 of those stuffed mushrooms. He said, good. He said, because they're a pain in the neck to stuff. He said, so I'm glad you're eating them. So they don't buy them stuffed. They do it right there at a Hy-Vee.
Yep. That's V's, one of V's favorite things over there. So absolutely. Got some hoops and baseball. We'll kind of lead things off here, but today is trade deadline day in the NBA. So far, no news on whether the Bucks are going to be making a move. You still got rumors. You still got rumblings out there if they could make a move or not. Haven't heard anything in terms of Chris Middleton's injury. Just seeing it's a sprained ankle. No idea how long he could be out with that. Does that affect whether the Bucks make a big move or not? Andrew Wiggins' name is being thrown out there. We've had Grant Williams' name being thrown out there. I mean, Murray from Atlanta is being thrown out there. You got a bunch of names that have been kind of rumored or attached, if you will, to the Bucks, but nothing official yet. But less than 8 hours. Less than 8 hours if they want to get a deal done. The Timberwolves, who they play tonight, Monte Morris, is now going over to the Timberwolves. He was with the Pistons. So, Timberwolves making a move to try to continue their solid season so far here. But with the injuries to Chris Middleton and kind of the play coming off that road trip where they were just 1-4, and it took a come-from-behind victory to get that one win against the Dallas Mavericks. And now getting a little bit tougher here with the Timberwolves. Should the Bucks make a move by this afternoon's deadline? Yay or nay? G-Man saying yes. Got a couple other texters saying, I sure hope so. Just kind of summing it up there. How about you?
Well, I'd like to see him make a move too. I was thinking maybe Chris Middleton would be part of any move, but if he's hurt, nobody wants to take on an injured player, especially at the contract that he's got. So I don't know what they can do. There are some names out there that would be attractive. I'm not sure what they'd have to give up to get any of them. I don't know. You know, they talk about Bobby Portis. He's expendable. Pat Connaughton is expendable. I don't know. I'd like to see him make some kind of a move because, again, when you get it's getting to the point now for me where the Packers had Aaron Rodgers for all those years and didn't put a defensive around him. The Bucks have Giannis, and I think, and it showed. Aaron Rodgers got frustrated with the Packer management, and his attitude showed it. And I'm just worried, or thinking that would this correlate to Giannis as his contract goes along, and they don't put the pieces around him that are needed to make a champion. I know they went out and got Damian Lillard, but let's face it, he's never going to make the all-defensive team in the NBA. But, I want him to see him make a move that'll move him towards a championship, not just make a move to make a move. So I'd like to see him make a move. Exactly what it would be or should be, I guess I'm not the one to say that, but I just don't want this to go back to Aaron Rodgers frustrated with the Packers to Giannis getting frustrated with the Bucks. And yeah, he's under contract, but let's face it, Aaron Rodgers, did he give his all his last year or two with the Packers? I don't want to correlate to the Giannis, but it's human nature sometimes.
I would go to add on to that though too. I would say similar to Rodgers and similar to Giannis, then they can't be upset if your buddies get traded or not signed or anything like
I
that
agree
too.
with you 100%.
You know, like if it were a Middleton or something like that, we know they're friends. But you know, if it was something like that, like you know, because they have Thanasis on there on the roster, you know, Giannis's brother and such. So, you know, it's one of those where as a general manager, it's like you got to make your superstar happy, but at the same time, at what cost to the rest of the team?
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's easy to figure
Oh
it
no,
out,
right?
you know,
Yeah,
but
but that's what I'm saying. Like Giannis has got to realize that too. It's like,
Yep.
okay, you know, you took some heat about Adrian Griffin getting fired. That was apparently your guy, and you tried to brush it. Well, I mean, you got to realize too, whatever you say out in the public, like in this past off season, saying, "Hey, I got to see if the Bucks are committed, to building a championship in that, or committed to." They're going to listen to you and they're going to do whatever you want. So if you want your guys, your buddies, but it might come at a cost, you gotta take that too.
Yeah, exactly. And Rodgers had Cobb came back, and let's face it, he was not even near the player when he came back that he was when he was first drafted. And mistakes are made on both sides. I think the Packers got rid of Jordy Nelson at the wrong time. I think that really was leading to the decline of that relationship, I think, between Rodgers and the Packers. But I don't think Chris Middleton is at the level of competition that Jordy Nelson still was. Yeah, he went to the Raiders and that organization. That speaks for itself. But I think they let Jordy Nelson go too soon, and I think that was one of the real starts of the decline in the relationship.
Yeah, so I don't know what we got a bunch. There's not like a big name superstar that's being floated out there or anything like that. But when you look at it and defensively, I mean, it's a small sample size. You look at the last 8 games. Statistically, the Bucks defense has gotten a little bit better in terms of opponents' points per game. They're 8th best in the league, and 5 of those 8 games going up against 5 of the better offensive teams. But I feel like this has been the word of the last couple months here. Complementary basketball hasn't been very good because their defense may have gotten better, but their offense has taken a step back over there too. So, I mean, like the other night when you've got Brook Lopez who's out, Chris Middleton gets hurt in the first quarter, you can't have Bobby Portis come in, play 31 minutes, and only score 5 points. You can't have that.
No, you can't. What?
And Damian wasn't even playing in that game either. So,
and I have to ask, where's Jay Crowder?
He played 40 minutes in that game.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm saying, yeah.
But you don't hear his name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like 10 points, I think he had, or if we're talking about the other night.
But I thought he would be when they brought him in, and Budenholzer didn't use him. He was supposed to be brought in as kind of a defensive, muscle man, take charge guy in the middle. Didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that coaching or is he on the decline?
He's supposed to be more the defensive guy.
Yeah.
I mean, defense, you're not really hearing a whole lot right now either. So,
I don't watch from start to finish, but I watch chunks of the games. They give up so many wide open 3-point shots. And, the 3-point shot is like a 10-footer when you and I were playing. These guys, that's what they practice, and they are very good at shooting, especially wide open 3-point shots. And you cannot give so many wide open 3-point shots. So when I watch them, I just shake my head at how many are wide open, no hand in their face. It's gotta change now. Whether Doc Rivers can do that, I don't know, or what the defensive changes are that he's hopefully going to put in. But they got to get better.
The Athletic, Doc Rivers just the other day diagnosed one major issue for the Bucks defense. One of them being the lack of communication on the defensive end has played a key role in teams' deficiencies on that side of the ball. Rivers already has a plan to, quote, fix this problem, and Brook Lopez and Jay Crowder are going to be 2 big names to play a part of that, according to Coach Doc. Lopez and Jay Crowder players on the roster that stand out in terms of being vocal on the defensive end. Lopez in particular also serves as a team's defensive anchor down low, so it's necessary for him to ensure that everyone on the floor is on the same page defensively. Lopez saying everyone's definitely trying to do that, and it's obviously something that's taken a bit longer to figure out with, I guess, the composite group we have, new and old, different people, taking longer than we thought it might to figure each other out, different coaches and everything like that to throw into different concepts. So it's a lot to figure out, and you really have to have a good sense of what you're doing and figure stuff out before you can talk confidently about it on the court on the fly. You can always talk about the little things, saying you got to get your guys back and stuff like that, but you really have to be able to understand the concepts and know what you're talking about to be able to confidently speak on the floor in those minutes. That was from Brooke Lopez the other day, according to The Athletic over there. So Brooke Lopez should be back in the lineup for tonight's game against the Timberwolves, which I think everyone around here would love if this is going to be a preview of a NBA Finals matchup
Would be
between
nice,
these two teams.
But the Bucks, receiver to fur, the Bucks got further to go than the Timberwolves if they're both going to reach the finals.
Depends on who you ask, because Luka is not. Yesterday he was like Timberwolves, not very high on him because of how they kind of can't close out games and such. And he wanted them to make a move, and they made a move with bringing in Morris and such. So, but their inability to close out games and such, I don't know. I look at Eastern and Western Conference. Eastern, you got Boston, but the way the Knicks and the Cavs are playing right now, they're two really hot teams. And then the Western Conference, I mean, you got Nuggets, you got OKC. Clippers are playing incredibly well too. And then the Timberwolves. Push. I'll say a push.
Yeah. It's a big hill to climb for the Bucks right now when you look at it, and you mentioned all these teams that are playing so well. It's a big hill to climb if the Bucks are going to be a champion. I mean, you look what the Boston Celtics did. Did they make a lot of moves? Got rid of Marcus Smart, waited around in the bushes. Drew Holiday became expendable. They picked him up. They don't miss Marcus Smart a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't make a lot of moves to do it. One move.
Yeah, that was. I think that was everybody's concern when Drew Holiday got traded to the Blazers, because you knew he wasn't going to stay there.
Nope.
And I was like, please, almighty, don't let it be a team like the Celtics.
And they didn't wait long to get him either.
Yep, and they got the Celtics there. So a couple more reviews texting in on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line saying that you do think the Bucks will make a move. I'm not sure the player, but you do think the Bucks will make a move. One of you saying, I'm fine if the Bucks have to trade Bobby Portis. I understand he is a fan favorite, but it's obvious this team has to get better in a couple of different areas, and sometimes you have to make those tough decisions.
Again, receiver to fur, we're early with this, but you'd rather see Chris Middleton traded than Bobby Portis.
I mean, money-wise, yeah, that would free up some money.
And, Chris Middleton, he's not because physically he's not a good defender anymore. He's not shooting at the same pace that he was. I think he's more expendable than Bobby Portis. He's had a great career with Milwaukee, no question about it. But obviously, he's on the downside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that contract's looking pretty rough right now. Middleton this year averaging 14.8 points per game, 5 assists, 4.3 rebounds, just averaging 26 minutes so far per game here too. So
do they give you the plus and minus points with him of opponents' points on the floor when he's on versus not?
Let me bring that up.
I don't know how into the weeds they get with all these statistics, but I don't think there's anything you can talk about that somebody hasn't figured out a statistic for it.
He's actually positive. This is the real plus minus. It's higher than it's been since 2019, 3.43.
Well, good. Then maybe maybe Bucks can point that out as far as trying to trade him. I don't know.
Yeah, last year he was a minus 0.56. The year before that, 2.90. The year before that, 1.95. And then in 2019-2020, he was a 3.63. So Yeah, he's up there, 3.43 positive. According to the advanced statistics, the real plus minus.
There you go.
You analytics people like intern over there. Switching gears a little bit, but staying with hoops. The ugly times 100 loss by the Badger basketball team last night to the last place Michigan Wolverines. By the way, I don't know if you watched the game or at all, or if you saw
it. I got so frustrated.
See how empty that stadium was?
Yep.
It's like they didn't even have a home crowd to have to deal with.
No.
And it was bare. And 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, well, starting with the Nebraska game, that's a coaching loss, as far as I'm concerned. That's a coaching loss, Nebraska. Purdue, they're
You
an
hung
awfully
with
good
them.
team.
Yeah.
You hung with them. Michigan, I mean, you don't lose to those sorts of teams. I mean, that's guard. He's got guys that are third and fourth and fifth year players act like they don't know what's going on. I mean, Tyler Wall and Crowell and Chucky Hepburn and these
Chucky
guys,
had a good game last night.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, he has not developed where he should be for this late in his career. I would not call him a leader on this team at all. And I just in Gardner, Nebraska, he got mad at Stores for shooting. He's the only scorer you got. You don't put him on the bench. It's if Michael Jordan misses 3 or 4 in a row, they're going to put him on the bench. No, he's your only scorer you got. You don't put him on the bench I question guards coaching right now. This is not a good trend that they're in, and I think it points right back to the bench, a lot of it.
Since you are into the analytics, I'll just tell you Chucky had the highest plus minus last night. So
good.
So I know you probably already knew that with
I knew
with
that
the
already.
advanced statistics
exactly.
over there. He was a plus 4.
I wonder how many games this year he has been on the plus side.
Let me see if I can find that out.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'll try to find that out for you.
Just frustrating that these guys under guard aren't getting any better as they get further along in their career. I mean, Esigian, I thought he was going to really be a good player. He's not already playing. Well, what's going on? Why aren't these guys being developed? Is it the coaching staff? I have to think that these guys haven't hit a wall when they're 19 years old. They gotta get better, but they're not. And I can see the Purdue loss, but Michigan and Nebraska, no way they should have lost those games. Absolutely no way.
Are you on the fire Greg Gard bandwagon right now?
No.
I was going to say, I hope you're not overreacting too much.
No, I'm not on the fire Greg Gard, but I think he has to reevaluate himself and his staff and what they're teaching and what they're coaching and how they're coaching. I don't know.
I mean,
it's frustrating. These 2 out of these last 3 games just been frustrating to watch this team not have these guys that are, like I said, long in the tooth against a lot of these teams that are so young. And, experience obviously isn't an advantage that Wisconsin is using. And I'm just frustrated with some of these guys, like Wall the other night at halftime, just for a half. He's saving a ball. He didn't throw it off the guy's leg. He called a timeout, wasted a timeout with, 3-4 seconds left in the first half. That leaves Gard with 2 timeouts in the second half. I mean, this guy's been around for 5 years. You know better than that. But those are things that you shouldn't see an experienced player do.
To be fair, it was a week ago today that we were singing the praises of this Badger basketball team.
No question
Number 6
about
in the
it.
country.
Yep,
So
no question about it.
It's definitely a rough stretch, and it has absolutely that game last night was just pitiful and awful. And Stephen Krull, the last 3 games with him, you look at him and was it the Nebraska game? He wasn't aggressive. Then you had Purdue, where I don't know if it was the Zach Edey effect or whatever, but then last night he's in foul trouble. He only plays 19 minutes in the game, and the Badgers were outscoring, Michigan in the paint, yet they were settling for jump shots and all that garbage stuff.
Krull against Nebraska. Krull, 7-footer. He took 2 or 3 shots against Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
They were all 3-pointers.
Yep.
That just doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Just doesn't work. So
I agree. I don't know
I think they got to look at film and they got to reconnoiter, so to speak, because
that's a new name or new word. Reconnoiter.
I think I heard
Google
somebody.
that one.
I think I heard somebody say that about a military movement or something one time. But I mean, you can't have Crowell not shooting in the paint and not around the basket. Him taking 3-point shots is like me taking 10-foot hook shots. I mean, he just, it doesn't match up. It's not a winning formula.
No, I mean, and I know that's something that they preach, like they don't like the mid-range, but then why is it still not? Why are they still doing it on the court? It's one thing if you got your coaching staff saying keep going, or keep attacking down low. Why are the players still settling for mid-range shots?
Good question.
That's what I would like to know. I'd like to ask those players, okay, if the coaches are telling you this, what in HE double hockey sticks are you doing then?
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I mean, and why aren't there? And I left the Badger Sports Report this week that's on TV every week after Nebraska and after Purdue. Greg Gard didn't do the show. He had Krabenhoff do it. And, I don't know, out recruiting or what he was doing, but he didn't do that. You can bet if they'd have beaten Nebraska and Purdue, Gard would have done that show.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just think he's got to take a long look at his program because if they can't beat Nebraska and they can't beat Michigan, are they 8-4 right now? They were 8-1. Now they're 8-4. And boy, oh boy, 8-8 can sneak up on them in a hurry if they don't play better.
And the bench play for the Badgers here too has been, at the beginning part of the season was actually a strength for this team. But last night, just 6 points coming off the bench, 6 points on 12, or 6 points on 12 shots, and 6 free throw attempts coming off the bench. You got to get more production. And I know Blackwell, the freshman, was injured and he was playing hurt or whatever and all that. But I mean, was it Winter that had 18 minutes coming off the bench and he only scored 1 point? You got to get bench production.
You got to get better players. He's got to recruit better and he's got to go into the portal and we got one player in the portal that's making a difference and, Stores. And I mean, I think the athletic director McIntosh is going to talk to him. He started off great, but if this trend continues, and I don't know how it can't continue because I thought 8-1 was, in the world are they doing that? But if this trend continues, I think McIntosh is going to have a talk with him.
Like fire him? Are you already saying?
Well, I'm talking about maybe no. I'm not talking about maybe everything on the table. I don't know, but I think he's got to. Is your assistant coaching staff, are they up to snuff? Like you just mentioned, where's our bench? What are these guys doing coming off the bench? What is their focus? And, I think he's going to have to reevaluate maybe his coaching staff. Has he got the right guys as assistant coaches?
Rutgers coming up on the 10th here, a couple days. Then they'll finally be back home for a game against Ohio State next week. Then on the road again against Iowa, Maryland, Indiana, Illinois, Rutgers, and then they finish up with Purdue. So we're about a month left of the regular season. But you look at the Big Ten standings right now, Wisconsin's still in third, but Northwestern now just a game behind them in terms of conference standings, right? Or one game behind them in terms of conference standings. Wisconsin 8-4, Northwestern is 7-5. Gophers 1.5 back right now. So
Northwestern kind of took apart Nebraska.
They almost swept Purdue this year too.
Yeah, I know it. Northwestern's got a nice team. This Boo Buie is doing a nice job, but again, they got in the face of the Nebraska. One guy beat him. Guard, call timeout, deny the guy the ball, and he didn't do it.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just things that are frustrating to watch this team. Why aren't you denying this guy the ball that did all the damage against you in that Nebraska game?
Well, in that Nebraska game, too, it sure looked like the Badgers' offense reverted to last year, playing a little ISO and spreading it out and taking a shot clock down and chucking up three-pointers at the end of the shot clock instead of playing your game that you were doing this year and, again, attacking the rim.
Yeah, and if you don't have shooters, why would you do that? Why would that be your strategy? You don't have Bronson Koenig or Ben Brust or these guys that are
Josh Gosser.
Yeah, these guys that are 3 points. You don't have any. Chucky Hepburn, man, oh man. If I want to live a long life, I'm going to say, well, you can shoot me when Chucky Hepburn makes 10 3-pointers. It might take him all season to do that.
I do miss a solid 3-point shooter that we used to have.
Yep.
It seemed like, like it was Ben Bruss, and then it was Josh Gosser, then it was Bronson, a guy that, when they shot it from deep, you felt good about that shot going in. And it was always pretty too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was always pretty.
We haven't seen that in a long time. That's what I thought Esigian coming in was going to be that next guy.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, he's not, whether he's lost confidence because of the way the coaching staff is dealing with him, I don't know. But, Greg Gard has some work to do both this year and building his teams in the future.
Don't take my word for it, too. But, for crying out loud, Frank Kaminsky might be a better option right now shooting a three than some of these players. I don't know the numbers right now, but I'm just thinking, Frank was pretty good from three. Yep. He kind of felt okay when he was chucking up a three.
Yeah, you're right. We used to have, 2 or 3 guys that could – you're pretty confident when they shot a three that, now every time they throw a 3-point up there, is it going to hit the rim? They don't have any good – 3-point shooters right now. Storer is a good scorer, but he's not a good 3-point shooter, so to speak. They have that threat. When you don't have that threat, you can pack your defense in. Let them shoot a 3-pointer because they're not going to make it anyway. If I'm coaching the defense of another team, that's my first position against Wisconsin. Let them have the ball outside the arc because they're not going to hurt you.
Take a guess on who's leading a team in 3-point percentage right now. I'm trying to see if I can find how many attempts.
Oh boy, I'd have no idea.
Stephen Kroll, almost 50% from three. But I'm trying to find the attempts on here too. Because it could be 1 for 2, and that's 50%. I know he's got more than 2, but that's where I'm just trying to find the attempts over. Otherwise, it's John Blackwell, the freshman coming off the bench too, is their second highest one over there at 40. Where was it at? 47? Was it 47%? Where did the thing go? I got too many windows open up. Yeah, 47.5% too. But
they don't even have a shooting advantage at home against Purdue. They shoot just decent. They beat Purdue, but at home, they were horrible in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the team leaders in attempts, 3-point attempts, is Max Klesman, who's 41.7% from three. So that's not bad.
That's not bad. No, bad at all.
And then AJ Storr second, 95 attempts. And he shoots 31.6 from three. That shouldn't be happening.
No, that's not good.
His game's going to the rim.
Yep.
Chucky is third most attempts, 74. He's worse, 27%.
That's what I said. This guy hasn't gotten any better over his career. And he's been there 4 or 5 years now.
Connor, 49. He's next. And 30.6. Finally, John Blackwell. So he's 47.5, but he's only shot it 40 times from deep. That's almost half of like AJ Storr and Max.
Yeah, the bottom line is they shouldn't be shooting 3-pointers.
And Stephen Kroll, why is he up 40? He's only shot it 29 times, so he's 14 of 29. So if he was 50 of 96, okay, that's pretty solid. But
and against Nebraska, he takes 2 or 3 shots that were all 3-pointers, which is fine. I don't think that's if he's down, how many layups has he tried to shoot? How many rebounds and this? None. He's got to be in the block first and then step out. You don't have a big man that starts outside and then goes in. It's in, out, and the ball goes back in. That's why I say I can't figure out the philosophy on this team all of a sudden. I really can't.
Yeah, even Frank would play inside out too.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had some sweet footwork down there.
Oh, he'd start under there, come out, set a screen, step back, throw the ball, 3-pointer, bang. Otherwise, he was a good passer too. These guys would be cutting. This team doesn't seem to be together.
I know Wisconsin used to have those big men that would always shoot from deep there too, but they always played a little inside out there too. Brian Butch, John Lure, those guys. Heck, even Greg Stietsma, if you want to go.
Yeah, Brian Butch was a good 3-point shooter. They had some good big guys, but Kroll is not. He's not. He's a big guy, but he doesn't play like him, and that hurts him.
Surveyor saying, to be fair, Greg Gard did bring Klesmit into the program from the transfer portal. Arguably their second best player, if not best, because he plays all out on both ends rather than just offense.
I'm not saying their effort isn't there. I'm just
Mhm.
saying the performance is not there.
Mm-hmm. I still take AJ Storr as my favorite top
Oh,
player,
absolutely.
as the top one.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We ran a little long. That's okay, though. We'll be back and finish up this first hour. We're going to talk some Brewers baseball. Brewers added another bat. Confusing offseason continues. It's tax season, so while you may be a little frustrated trying to track down all those W-2s and whether you're going to file yourself or have someone do it for you, think about the light at the end of the tunnel. That's that tax return, some extra coin in your pocket. So now what are you going to do with that extra cash burning a hole in your pocket? How about finally changing out that old ratty carpet in your home and getting some new luxurious carpet or vinyl planks from Wisconsin's premier flooring store, Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire? Whatever style of flooring you're looking for, or maybe you're not sure what exactly style you want yet, the team at Carpet City Flooring Center is waiting to help you find that perfect new floor for your space. So what are you waiting for? Once you get your taxes done, go visit Carpet City Flooring Center at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue and chat with one of their awesome team members. They'll help you so you finally get that new floor in your home that you've been wanting for a while now, all at the best price in town because they will match or beat the competition. To answer this person's question, why am I not at Radio Row for the Super Bowl? It's because the farm department takes all of our budgets. That's why.
Yeah, they sure do. Yeah, the farm department sure takes a budget. That's for sure.
Had to throw that out there.
Oh
No, I'd like to go back again to Radio Row. It's organized chaos, but it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. So next year it's at New Orleans, so maybe.
Yeah, I
pipe dream.
Listen to Dan Patrick and the Danettes from down there, and sounds like a lot of fun. A lot of people there, and the people that are there want to talk. It's not like you got to, hunt them down or anything. They'll walk by and say, "Hey, you got a minute?" Yeah, sure. And who you might be some Hall of Famer or
got to promote some stuff,
but
yeah, that's worth it.
Well, worth it. Oh, absolutely.
Ask a question or two, and then get to the real combo at hand. So
it's kind of interesting looking at those guys that. Because some of those guys aren't the traditional talking heads, and so they've got a different perspective on the game than the Schefters or some of these other guys. So it's kind of interesting. And the gals, there is some nice coverage done by some of the lady broadcasters as well. And when are they going to break the mold? Men in the booth and women on the sidelines. I always think, and you never hear any criticism of that. But I think some of these young ladies could do probably pretty well in the bot. They're not former players, obviously, but they follow the game and they've got interesting perspectives as well. Even if it's not take the guy out, but put the gal in, put three of them in there. They've done that with baseball with
Jessica Mendoza.
Mendoza, thank you. And
Doris Burke in basketball.
Yep. So there's a few, but I'd like to see more.
Yep. One of my favorites when I was over in Minnesota, listening to Jack Youngblood interviewing him. Just like the old school, wearing the cowboy hat, old stories like that.
That's right. Yep.
That was fun. So, all right. So we're going to talk some baseball coming up. Pitchers and catchers report a week from today. Spring training officially beginning. Dodgers actually start sooner because, they start their season a little bit sooner. But Brewers-wise, you probably saw them packing up the semis a couple days ago and such. So, they report pitchers and catchers a week from today, and the Brewers got a new catcher, backup catcher, maybe also a DH option. We'll tell you who they signed yesterday in this interesting, shall we say, offseason for the Brewers continues. We'll hit that up coming up after these news updates. Second hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning. Big thanks for tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in. We've got outdoor tidbits coming up a little under an hour and a half from now. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden. If you got any questions for Jake, text those on over to 715-830-1912 on the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. We'll get to some receive or defer at the back end of this hour. First hour, we talked hoops, Bucks, and Badgers. We'll revisit that a little bit later on. But baseball, week from today, the Brewers pitchers and catchers will be reporting to spring training. And yesterday, it was reported that the Brewers are adding another bats to their lineup. Former Yankee, one-time Twin, spent some time with the Mets and the Padres last year. Gary Sanchez signing a one-year deal, $7 million. Will be the backup catcher. Also, potentially could be the DH or a DH option for the Brew Crew. So the off season of question marks and what the heck and the whole vision continues here as the Brewers added a couple bats like fans have wanted for a couple of years now. That also comes on the heels of Corbin Burns being traded. So it's kind of like I think Brewers fans the other day I was asking the question, what are your expectations for what are you thinking for this upcoming season? And my best way is probably just shrugging my shoulders. I don't know right now.
So it's all you can do. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, last couple of years, and you had Burns and Woodruff and Peralta, and Miley came back, and a couple of the other pitchers, plus some of the hitting. You thought, well, they got a shot. I can't say that this year because I don't know if this Corbin Burns trade to Baltimore is going to turn out to be another hater to San Diego. We get nothing in return. I don't know how good these guys are that are coming back that are supposed to be better than what we got for Hader from San Diego, and I hope they are. And who's the young kid they gave the big contract to? And
Jackson Cheerio.
Are these guys going to respond? Cheerio is going to be one of these guys, that's going to be sent down right away and then brought back because that'll save a year on his contract. But, I don't know what to expect. I really don't.
And to me, it kind of compared it a little bit, not completely, but it almost feels a little bit kind of like how I began with the Packers season. Like, I don't know what to expect right now. There's a lot of question marks. It's a little different because Brewers, yeah, you're counting on a lot of young guys, but then you're bringing in one-year guys like Rhys Hoskins and Gary Sanchez, guys like that. So you're adding a couple of veterans in here, but then you add in the whole division. I mean, the Cubs really haven't done anything besides bring Counsell. They're probably going to bring back Bellinger. The Cardinals have brought in some veteran starters at their pitch staff, but that remains to be seen whether that's going to work out. So then there's part of me, it's like, well, maybe the division is up for grabs because, well, the Reds played better last year. Pirates had a little bit of a run. I don't know how this is going to play out.
No, I don't either. Anybody that says they do is just guessing. There's no question about that. But you look at this Brewers roster, and like you said, at the beginning of the Packers season, we don't know how this is going to work out. We don't expect. I was more negative than I was positive about the Packers. I'll admit that, and I was wrong. But this team, I'm just completely uncertain about. Is there a Jordan Love out there?
Yeah.
Is Cheerio going to be a Jordan Love? Is Christian Yelich
gonna be an Aaron Jones?
Does he have is he reached his point of level? Does he have any upside in him anymore like he had when he first came? There's still a lot of questions out there, and Yelich is still a relatively young guy. Hopefully he's had a lot of rest in the offseason, the back and the ankle and the wrist and all the other problems he's had. Hopefully they're healed up. Hopefully the new manager can get a grasp on what kind of talent he's got and how to use it. There are just a lot of questions.
Yeah, I mean, in one point, it kind of gives, for me at least, a little excitement because I have no idea what to expect. But at the same point, it's like, well, when you trade a guy like Corbin Burns and, that sort of stuff, it takes a hit in terms of that excitement over there, too. When Brandon and I were talking about it Friday, the day after it happened, the night before it happened, it was one of those, like, it sucks, but you hate to say it, you get it at the same time. It sucks, but you get it. Like, Burns was pretty vocal out there saying this was going to be his last year with the Brewers. And, and I get it. He wants to test free. Why wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. Can't criticize the guy for that. But
Nope.
I'm just hoping the Burns trade or one of these trades is going to be like the Cubs and the Cardinals. And they traded Lou Brock for Ernie Broglio. I'm thinking that, did the Red Sox or did the Orioles get Ernie Broglio and Burns? And did we get the next Lou Brock and one of these other guys? You're hoping lightning will strike. Will it? I don't know.
Yep. That's the thing. We don't know. And I think, that's, I think, frustrating for some fans because you want to know, right? It's that uncertainty that kind of gives you some nervous Nellies and frustration a little bit there.
But I am happy, satisfied, whatever word you want to use, with the signing of Sanchez. I think in that ballpark, I think he can hit some balls out of the park. I don't think that's a bad signing at all.
Yeah.
And anytime you can get a catcher that can hit a little bit.
Yep. You got Contreras there, who's a Silver Slugger Award winner. Now you got another power option with the DH in play too. You can have both of them in the lineup.
Can he play first base?
I looked it up last night. He did play a couple games at first base, so he's got a little bit of experience over there, but not a ton. But you got Rhys Hoskins too over there. But I mean, they did add more bats, veteran bats at least this season.
Who's going to play third base?
Don't know.
So we might not be done yet.
No, it could be one of their top prospects, Tyler Black, who may be ready to come up. It could be Owen Miller. It could be Andrew Monasterio. It could be the one guy that they got in return from the Orioles trade, Ortiz, who's mostly considered as a shortstop, as they're saying, a Gold Glove defenseman at shortstop, but he can play third. Does he start off there at third until Willy Adames gets traded? I'm fully expecting Willy Adames to get traded at any point.
Yeah, and how do they replace that hole? His offense was sketchy, spotty, inconsistent, but still he gave him something, and he was a pretty darn good shortstop. He is a pretty darn good shortstop. I don't know where he's going to go, but if they trade him, they better get something offensively in return.
Yeah, so I mean, they've got guys. Are they the best? When I think of third, I still think I'd like a power guy.
Oh, absolutely. Third and first and out right and left fielder. Got to have power.
And that's with of those names we mentioned, Black might be the closest, although, kind of, I mean, if you look at some of his, let me bring up his stats from the minor leagues here, Tyler Black. I mean, 18 home runs last year in 2023 in the minors between AA and AAA. AAA, he hits 4, but and he hit 310. So he's not a big power guy, more of an average than there too. So, but seems like the options over there is going to be mostly just kind of contact hitters at that point.
Yeah, and with that ballpark, I want to see some power.
Yeah.
And if they're going to have, if you're going to have contact hitters, and, Counsell was a very successful manager, but it was frustrating. You got contact hitters, but you're not moving runners with those contact hitters. He was very much station-to-station ball player type of manager. So maybe this manager will do more of that, put guys on the move and hit behind them or try and hit behind them. Of course, you got to figure out what your roster is first. And as close as we are to spring training, I don't think this roster is complete yet.
And you got to wonder, Pat Murphy is old school, a little bit older school.
Yep.
Would he employ that and maybe looking at your roster too? I think too, if you've got younger guys, speedy guys, like a Sal Free, like a Garrett Mitchell, a Joey Weimer, Bryce Terang, utilize that speed. Yeah. Jackson Cheerio, utilize that speed.
Put pressure on the defense.
And especially, where, when they ban the shift, and we did see an increase a little bit last year, but, where guys have to stay, in a certain spot on the field, put that pressure on that catcher to make that play and that second base or shortstop to go cover.
That's one thing you can't coach.
Yeah.
Speed.
Exactly.
I mean, you look at the teams that are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They got some pretty fast players that you can't keep up with. And that's one of the things that I think the Packers are going to be in the future in pretty good shape with the wide receiving core they've got. These guys are learning how to play wide receiver. They've already got the speed. You don't have to coach that. You just have to coach them how to use that speed. And the faster you can be, the better off you are.
Yeah. So I still am excited about the upcoming baseball season.
Oh, I'm always up about every season. I have to admit again, like I did a little while ago, I have to admit I was not excited about the Packer season starting this year. But as the season went along and you saw that Jordan Love, he's going to be the real deal. And, I did not say that at the beginning of the season. I, like so many other people, I had to be convinced. Well, I think he's convinced me and a whole lot of others that he can play that position. But again, for this baseball season, I don't know. I don't know who our Jordan Love is that if he comes along is going to change the focus of the season. Jordan Love changed the season. Who that the Brewers have on this roster, new or returner, can do that? Is Yelich going to be back? Mitchell, is he going to be back? Some of these young guys they brought up at the end of the year.
Can it be Jackson right away?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know who that player is.
It's interesting.
And I don't know who they're focusing on maybe to be that player either.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be Jackson maybe, but that kid's going to be under so much pressure right away from just expectations from fans or whatever, or maybe even himself. Whenever he does. The thing is, he hasn't made his major league debut yet, but people are going to look at that contract and they're going to put a lot of pressure on him right away to be successful. Fans or whatever, probably a little bit. We're all human. He may put a little extra pressure on himself too. Like, okay, I got to go out there and perform and put up big numbers, right away. You hope he doesn't get too far in his head if it gets to that case, but there's going to be some external pressure on that.
Do you expect that they will again send him down like the Brewers, like the Cubs did with Chris Bryant years ago, and then call him back up in May or something like that?
From my understanding, because Brewers did that with Keston. That's why, but with his contract extension, from what I had heard, I could be wrong, but from what I heard, that doesn't factor into it anymore with the year's service sort of thing. So that doesn't play into that anymore since he signed that huge extension now. So that's kind of out of the window, out of the play.
Speaking of Keston here, where is he?
I think he's available.
So nobody's really signed him yet.
Let me double check.
Because that's a name that kind of just fell out of favor.
Free agent right now.
Okay, well, hopefully he'll catch on with somebody. But for Jackson Churio, I would hope that, if they do send him down for a little experiment down there in the minors, get his feet on the ground, so to speak, I hope they call him up when they're on a long road trip. So he's brought into the lineup so he gets a feel for what Major League Baseball is all about while he's on the road for, a 6 or 8 game road trip. And then when he gets home, he knows what it's like to be in a major league ballpark, a major league locker room, major league table, hotels, this, that, and the other thing. So he doesn't come up in his first at bat in Milwaukee. I hope he gets
standing ovation right away, probably.
I hope he gets called up when they're on the road.
And that's the thing, too. Remember, he's only got like a handful of games at the AAA level.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm, but
a new experiment.
It is. And I honestly feel like this is going to be the wave for the Brewers for the foreseeable future. A lot of I can't see them doing, and I could be wrong, maybe there'll be another one, but like how they did with Bronny and Yelich, I don't know if they'll ever sign another guy late 20s to like a 10-year deal for a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to see that again right now with this current structure with this team, where it's going to be more like, we're going to focus strictly on investing our younger guys. And hopefully, it's a risk, but hopefully it'll be one of those contracts then where it's like, yeah, we got a bargain. Kind of what they did with Freddie. Aaron Ashby, they did the same thing. Jackson Churio and that. So I don't know if we'll see like a Yelich contract again.
Well, with his market size, you have to be creative. I mean, you can't wait like the Yankees and the Dodgers and everybody else. And well, he's a star. And now we'll give him $300-400 million, or $700 million in the case of Ohtani. But it's going to be interesting. Were you surprised to see that Clayton Kershaw is coming back to the Dodgers?
He's going back to the Dodgers. Yeah.
I was kind of surprised. I thought, he's advanced in his career. And I thought maybe he's from Dallas. I thought maybe he'd go back to the Texas Rangers.
Well, he's probably looking at what the Dodgers did with bringing in Ohtani and that, be like, all right, I'll sign up for that, maybe try to win another ring and then call it a career after that. But
Yeah, but he, with his physical status, you think he's going to stay a starter, or they're going to make him
that's what I was
a
kind of
long
wondering.
reliever or somebody like that?
Could he be a John Smoltz and come out of the ninth sort of thing, transition his career that way?
Well, he'd definitely be a different look with his
Mm-hmm.
motion from the left side.
Yep,
He's not a power pitcher anymore, but boy, the ball really moves.
it does. I'd still like him. I mean, if he was on the Brewers, I'd be happy.
Oh,
Sort of
absolutely. Yeah,
thing. So,
yeah.
but
If he can stay healthy, but he's been really injury prone the last few years.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
he's got a ring, but he just cannot pitch in the postseason.
yeah. There's that.
Hasn't been good.
Still, one of my favorite memories is when Brandon Woodruff hit that home run
Yep.
off of him in the postseason too. So,
And they should have beat the Dodgers in that series too.
golly,
But
isn't it weird? You look at these last 2 years with the Brewers, like that season, they were all about the offense. Like their number one pitcher was Yoli Chacin. Brandon Woodruff was just kind of coming up at that point.
mhm.
So it was like all offense, but it's like, do they have enough or pitching? Then they finally get enough pitching, but then it's like they don't have enough offense. Now it feels like this year they're going like, hey, they finally get some offense. Now you question their pitching again. It's like there's again complimentary.
Is Woodruff done for the whole year?
Yeah.
He is. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Maybe even for the career, we don't know yet. So
Oh, that's not good.
yeah, we don't know. It's a major injury, so tough to come back from. They said.
Yeah, it's like what's his name? The kid that was drafted first when by the Cubs.
Oh, is it Pryor or
Pryor.
or Wood?
Pryor.
Mark Pryor? Yeah.
When the Twins took Joe Mauer,
Yeah.
and they took him, and
Yep.
Joe Mauer is going to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Joe Mauer on that. I was a little wondering if he would, and he just made it. What, he barely got 75% of the vote, but that's all you need. So there's
Mhm.
no sense for overkill. But when they built that outdoor stadium, it really changed his numbers. But he had enough numbers from playing in the dome that he made it. So
Yep.
congratulations to him.
Yeah. Pryor actually coaches with the Dodgers right now. So
Is
Mark
he
Pryor.
okay?
Yep. He's over there coaching.
But he was going to be one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and then he got serious arm injury, and he was done as well.
Gosh, I remember as a kid watching those on WGN. Him and Wood.
Yeah, Kerry Wood.
Yep. Those two at the top there, and they didn't get one. They didn't get a ring with those two guys either.
Nope.
So, but man, yeah, just reading here because I wanted to double check if Pryor was still with the Dodgers. It says here that the Sporting News speculated that Pryor's injuries may have been the result of manager Dusty Baker overusing him early in his career, also pointing to his shoulder injury after running into Giles as a potential source of the trouble. Critics made Baker their quote scapegoat, according to the New York Times, blaming him for overusing his young pitcher. So for Pryor says, I don't blame Dusty for what happened to me. So if you want to just to throw that out
I don't
there
remember
too,
exactly what caused his arm problems or shoulder problems, but I know he was expected to be really, really, really a good pitcher, and it just never happened. He was for a little while, very short time. He was very good, but
yeah,
but didn't pan out.
Nope, he didn't. So, all right, let's take a quick break here, and we'll be back with more. We'll throw a little football talk in here. We got to get Bob's pick before he goes for his Super Bowl. We'll put him on the marker board up here as well. But quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Believe it or not, baseball season is around the corner, as we were just talking about, which means spring training. Players getting ready for another long baseball season this summer. But spring training doesn't just have to be for baseball players, it can be for you as well. Tired of those aches and pains, and you've been holding off on going to see someone for help? Not anymore. Spring on into Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and start your spring training so you're ready for an awesome summer. At Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, you will receive surpassed care delivered with compassion and respect. So get ready to get back in the game. Make your appointment today by visiting cvosm.com to get started. Packers, another coaching update here for the green and gold. The Packers apparently are hiring a former wide receiver from the team back in 2013, Miles White, to the coaching staff to be an assistant receivers coach. He was the wide receivers and passing game coordinator at Miami of Ohio. Also spent some time at Stephen F. Austin a couple years over there too. So Packers now in the phase of adding some assistants to the assistants, if you will.
They got a lot of money, in other words.
Yeah, so they got their main position coaches all figured out, all hired on the defensive side and such, and now they're kind of focusing on the assistants to the position coaches, which I think this is smart from Matt LaFleur in a couple ways. So, one, we mentioned it earlier this week. They hired Sean Mannion, former quarterback. He's retiring, and he's going to join the Packers as a coach to work with the quarterbacks and the passing game. We talked about Miles White here, and I'll get to the defense here, but I think it's smart from Matt LaFleur in the sense that he's bringing these assistants on and kind of already preparing for the future. Like Tom Clements is in his 70s. You know, he's probably only got a year or two left. He's already retired a couple times and he came back, but he's coming
in
back.
his 70s and he's still working?
I know, right? What the heck is that,
What's
dude?
the matter with those guys?
I don't know if he travels as much as you though either. So
I'm sure he does.
But you know, Tom Clements, he's kind of on a year by year basis. So you bring in a guy who apparently a lot of the NFL circles thought he was going to be a future coach anyways. Kind of works under Tom Clements, gets a feel for it. You bring in Miles White to be an assistant wide receivers coach. Jason Vrabel's, he continues what he did with these wide receivers. He might be a name for a coordinator in the next couple of years. You're preparing for that. Defensively, they're kind of doing the same thing. They've brought in position coaches that have former defensive coordinator experience, because I feel like if this Packers defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, comes in and completely turns around this defense, he might be getting head coaching interviews next year. I feel like this team is in a better position where they've got guys maybe within their system that if those guys do end up leaving, gaining some more experience that way. So,
yeah, it's that's the more experience you can get for these guys, the better off it is. And like you said, if Hafley, the new defensive coordinator, turns this thing around and figures out how to use these, 8 of 11 guys in the starting defense, first round draft choices, obviously there's some talent there. And if he can figure out how to bring all that talent out in a positive way, yeah, it could really make a difference for the Packers and for him.
You like the fact that they're going to a little 4-3 defense now, it sounds like?
Yeah, I think so, because who are they going to use? Van Ness going to be a defensive end.
Rashawn Gary will be a defensive end.
All right.
Preston probably defensive end. So
as long as, I was watching, when you watch the Detroit San Francisco game, Bosa made a couple of good plays, but boy, I'm telling you what, he made a couple of dumb plays too. He really gave up his outside leverage and got burned 2 or 3 times. And then he just turned around and watched. He didn't pursue at all. I wasn't impressed with him at all in that game. And, he did make a sack or 2 or whatever where he gets all the headlines for. But, you break down that game film, and I don't know if he would be considered a positive or a negative when the evaluations were all done. But if Van Ness and Gary, I think, will be difference makers as a 4-3. I really do.
I think it also benefits a guy like Kenny Clark.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to see him.
And Slayton, too.
Yeah. I think one thing you're going to see, in my opinion, that should make Packers fans happy, you're going to see a lot more guys closer to the line of scrimmage, because we already know the defensive coordinator, Jeff, wants to play press man. So you got your corners up. You're going to have more guys in the box there. You're not going to have everybody kind of backed off and I'm just hoping we could cut off when it's 3rd and 7, we don't even feel good about, getting off the field at that point. So
I'm hoping with a 4-3 defense too, it'll tie up this offensive line, and Quay Walker
he's going to
will
get more
start
free.
to make a difference and be able to fill some holes, because to this point, I don't feel he's lived up to a number 1 draft choice. But
and I think it's
maybe that's the defensive scheme. We're only, like Alexander said, we're only playing what they're calling. So, can you develop some things to bring these guys' talent out? Now,
I'm excited to see him on the weak side, covering more space, more room to roam, if you will, and not just stuck in the middle.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
I just hope this defense can bring out some of these guys' talent, because it's been frustrating to watch them. And, you're a first-round draft choice, and you can't make that play. So I'm hoping this defense is going to change, and these guys are going to really start to shine.
Also, from the Packers world here, Mark Murphy, the search for his replacement officially announced yesterday. You want to talk about a guy who can't work in his 70s, because it is mandatory. Packers, as soon as you turn 70, you have to retire. So it's a good thing you weren't CEO of the Packers.
That is a good
their
thing.
intern. But that search doesn't mean he's getting replaced this year. If you read, I know that everybody saw the headline. It's like, oh, he's going to leave finally for some and that. But process is going to take 6 to 9 months, and then it's kind of on the job training. If you got to go back, that was very similar to Mark Murphy. Bob Harlan was still there. Murphy was working with him, kind of, getting the lay of the land, if you will. So that process is now beginning, and I would like to officially announce that I am officially willing to put my name in there for candidacy. So
that's big of you. That's big. And your top assistant can be G-Man. He can drive you around. He's got experience all those years driving the roads around here, so he can be your chauffeur.
Yeah.
Ready-made team.
Be like when I ran for treasurer in high school. Didn't make any sense, because my worst subject was math. And I didn't know what the heck I would be doing. So
believe me, when you look at some of the hires in sports, you question it. Their best class wasn't math or statistics or management or things like that. So sometimes you wonder how the hiring goes, but it'll be interesting to see who they hire.
Yeah, my feeling is, I think the next dude, if you will, or the next guy or gal, it could be, but the next CEO is already on staff. I think with the Packers.
You're saying Gutekunst?
No, not Gutekunst. It's I'll bring it up here. It's God, I just blanked.
Guy that's already in the front office working.
He's not in the front office, but let me bring it. I can picture him, and I just completely blanked on the name.
Yeah,
he's got a 49ers connection.
Well, I'm not sure who that is. Was he a coach with the Packers, or
nope?
Always in administration.
Yep. I'll bring it up here.
And how soon do they hope to have a new person on board?
Well, they said it'll be 6 to 9 months, the process to find the next person here.
When does Murphy turn 70?
July of 2025, which means that draft is his birthday party, because the draft is in April of 2025.
All right.
So he's done he's done July 2025. Policy. Carmen Policy? Is that the name? Yeah. I'll double check that.
I've heard that name, but I'm not familiar with who he is or what he does.
Maybe not Carmen Policy. Ed Policy. Ed Policy. Yes.
Okay.
Ed Policy.
Don't know that name.
Yeah. Carmen was with the 49ers. Carmen Policy was he was the president CEO of the 49ers from 91 to 97. And then Ed Policy, who is right now with the Packers. He is an executive, chief operating officer, and general counsel for the Packers. I feel like he's going to be the next guy. So that's if I were to put some serious cash on laying down who the next leader of the pack is going to be, it's going to be him. So, but give you a little bit about him. He oversaw, he was big in seeing the development of the Titletown district for the Packers. Also really big into the helping getting the draft and that such over there too. So I feel like that's going to be the guy.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got some credentials. And I was going to
former commissioner of the Arena Football League too.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Well, he knows administration then.
Also, executive consultant with the NFL for a couple of years. So
he's got a well-rounded background.
Yep, I think it's going to be him.
So, I was going to say,
if it's not me, if I decide not to take
if
it,
you turn it down. But I was going to say, receiver defer. The Packers need a football man or a businessman to be their replacement for Mark Murphy.
Businessman.
Yeah, I think so too. Because
and I think Mark Murphy did for his role did a good job.
Yeah, and he came from athletics.
Northwestern Athletic.
Northwestern.
Yep.
Yeah,
and he was kind of the second choice because they had somebody already kind of like waiting in the wings. Was it John Jones was his name? I'll have to. Yeah, it was John Jones.
Not familiar with that name.
So he was the senior vice president of administration. Then he was president and COO. And he was expected to replace Bob Harlan. Then he had some health issues. And then he had to resign from his post. And then Mark Murphy ended up getting selected for the job. So,
how much
he was
does
like
that job pay?
I think enough because I think Mark Murphy actually bought a golf course last year in Green Bay. So I think it's enough.
Do they now this? Well, the Packers are a public organization, so I'm sure that's available.
Probably, yeah,
it's available.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I know some fans have issues with Mark Murphy and such. I'd rather have the CEO just let the football people make the football stuff. You know, like how Bob Harlan said when he hired Ron Wolf. Ron Wolf's got full control of the football organization. You know, and I think Mark Murphy did a good job when it was clearly evident those silos, Ted Thompson, Mike McCarthy, and that to tear down those silos and kind of. I thought he did a good job restructuring that whole thing.
Yeah, because I think Ted Thompson kind of abused that privilege. I'll call it a privilege of running the Packers as a general manager, and he kind of ran it as his own business. You know, Ron Wolf, you know, he was vocal, public, you know, open. Ted Thompson wasn't that way, and I think he alienated a lot of people. And Murphy had to come and tear that down because, you know, people say, well, why did you do that? Why did Thompson do? Well, he's in charge of football operations. Yeah, but you're his boss. And so I think Ted Thompson kind of took advantage of the situation and created the need to have more exposure of that position.
And I know that there's going to be some fans out there that view that maybe the Packers have gotten too corporate instead of, you know, maybe fan, you know, basing that.
Reactive.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. And I get that. And I understand but I also feel like it is 2024. I mean, they kind of have to. I mean, the Titletown district, you can't have Kmart probably sitting outside the stadium, you know, forever and have that fan. I love tailgating in the Kmart parking lot, by the way. A lot of good memories. But I feel like this day and age, you got to do whatever to kind of, you know, get more income that way and be relevant. And
you do, but you still have to be aware of who the Packers and what the Packer franchise is. I mean, you walk 50 feet out of the Packers parking lot and you're in people's backyards. This is Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's not, you know, I've been to stadiums around, like not a lot, but I've been to some, you know, Kansas City, different ones, and they're not part of the city. They're an entity unto themselves. You know, they've got their own area, and really is different. The Packers are a different animal.
They are. But I also, you know, and like that's where I think, you know, Murphy's like, yeah, we'll never sell naming rights for stadium. You know, he's got the pulse on that stuff. But I also feel like, you know, hey, we know we're not going to get Super Bowl. How can we generate more income for not only Green Bay, but the city of Green Bay? Bringing in the draft is huge.
Oh, absolutely.
It is absolutely huge. You know, Titletown district, it's become a 365 tourist thing over there in Little Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I think they've done a good job still recognizing the history around that franchise.
Yeah, and it's been it's not just Wisconsin fans that are going to Lambeau. I mean, I've talked to friends of mine from Montana, North Dakota, and different places, and they go through Wisconsin and they want to go to Lambeau Field. They want to go to Door County. They want to go to Lambeau Field. They want to walk out there and see that stadium, and they're all amazed by it. You know, they get into the boxes, they get down on the field, they get the locker room, the Hall of Fame, this, that, and the other thing. And it is unique. but it's still 2024 and it's a business and you got to make money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still get chills going through Lambeau Field. I still get that kind of aura and
Well,
feel. And
on TV, as kids growing up, I never went to a Packer game, but then all of a sudden, I remember when the first games I watched were in black and white TV.
mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you got color TV and you got this gold and you got this green so bright and on your TV. And then when you get to the stadium, it's 100 times brighter than it is in TV.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is a unique experience to go to Lambeau Field.
Mm-hmm. It's it's a little different now because how they built up Titletown. But like if you're, say you're going to Green Bay from here, you're 29, you take the exit, and you go take the
41 down to Lombardi Avenue.
Yep, the stadium exit,
Yep.
and you take a left. Like you can't see a stadium, but as soon as you take that left and you go under the bridge, it's like, boom, it's right there.
It is, yep.
It's like it's so cool. Like,
and then you look across the street and you're in people's backyards.
Yeah.
They're parking cars. They're having a party. I mean, it's a unique. I mean, everybody tailgates. Every stadium tailgates, but most of it, and there's a lot of tailgating in the parking lots at Lambeau. But so many backyards are parking cars, and then the people that park the cars, invite the people to stay and have beverages and food and everything else. So it's you pay, and then you're only paying $30-40 for parking, and people invite you to a party. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. You don't do that in Chicago or someplace else. You pay $100 to park and you're on your own.
Mm-hmm. I still love the fact too that I'm bringing up their name here. But if you go to Lambeau Field and you go to like where the Don Hudson Center is, so you got the Don Hudson Center and then the practice fields surrounding it, right? You got Ray Nitschke and Clark Hinkle Field. Right next to the Don Hudson Center is a little building, soap products, little business still right there.
Yep.
Won't sell. You probably could get a big penny from Green Bay. It's just right there. Or it's still right there, tucked in the corner. And I remember reading an article, I think a couple of years ago. Players would come in because he's got some dogs. Players come in. Aaron Rodgers would come in, talk to them and such. But it looks so awkward, but it's still so cool to see that little soap products, building right in between the two fields.
Yep. And
next to the
it's
Don Hudson
it's like
Center.
in golf in Pebble Beach. Remember, for years and years and years, there was one house that sat out on the point,
Mm-hmm.
and it just made the golf clumsy. The little par 3 that they couldn't really use. And then finally, I don't know what happened. The person died or decided it was time. I can make enough money now to live forever on all kinds of, for this little lot, I can make millions of dollars. Sold it. They expanded Pebble Beach, and that legacy is gone. But that's what you've got in Green Bay, and how long that's going to be there, I don't know.
Yeah.
And is there somebody in the family that would want to keep it and keep it a soap shop or whatever it would be? But you see that in different places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right out here, right outside of Eau Claire, where Sam's Club and Walmart is. Remember that little house that used to sit there?
Where Quick Trip is now?
Yeah, where Quick Trip is now. They used to live there, and you knew it was inevitable it was going to go.
Yep.
But it still kept part of, this is still the city of Eau Claire. It's not a developmental blacktop area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they sold the house. Now Quick Trip moved in there, and if you didn't know where that house was, you wouldn't remember it.
Yeah.
But there's little pockets like that. And I remember all the farms that used to be out on the, on the south side of Eau Claire before Oakwood Mall moved in. And all those. And I still, it's some of that Americana is gone and going fast.
Oh gosh, I remember that house over there by Walmart ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still picture the car that was within the garage too, the driveway.
I know it.
Man.
Little brick house with one car garage, white garage door, and sat there. But that's what you get. Some of that stuff that but Green Bay has that. Other stadiums don't have that. I was in Kansas City a while back, drove out to their stadiums. They're side by side, and they're entities unto themselves. You get around them. There are places that are around them, but not like it is Green Bay, where you can walk across the street to the different bars and everything like that. It's a unique place.
It is, absolutely. All right, so we got to take a quick break. Receiver defer, we might have to put receiver defer, extend it just past 8 o'clock here too. We'll see how quick we get through this, but we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Thinking of taking a spring break trip this year, or maybe you're already eyeing up that summer vacay, but you're not quite sure if you have the proper transportation for those road trips? Hey, that's where Toyson Ford can help you out. Locally owned and family operated, Toyson Ford has a wide selection of new and used vehicles for you to check out. And at Toyson Ford, they treat you like an honored guest. They will work with you on financing no matter what your budget may be. And their top of the line service department is always there to help you make sure your vehicle is safe to hit the road. So if you're looking for that new vehicle this year, head to Toyson Ford, located at 1000 Chippewa Crossing Boulevard in Chippewa Falls.
Have to check with Craig. I haven't heard. Maybe you have how the roster's coming for the Express this summer.
Yep. I'm surprised you haven't seen it on your Twitter accounts.
Oh, I haven't checked my Twitter account lately.
You probably forgot your password on there.
Well, I have. I forget a lot of things.
No, yep. You can. They announced. I know Dale's busy recruiting and signing up players and such, but this weather right now feels like we should be heading over to Carson Park and watching some baseball.
Yeah, I watched the coverage of the Phoenix Open golf tournament, which starts today. I guess.
The Waste Management one.
Waste Management, and that's cold and wet out there. And California has had all this rain. I think 8.5 inches of rain yesterday or something like that. And down in Florida, it's not been a warm winter by any means. I've got a sister that went down there in November. She's been to the beach twice, and she's down farther south Florida. So, we might have better spring training weather around here than they got out in Arizona and Florida.
Absolutely. I saw, like, at Super Bowl, it's been raining a lot over there in Vegas, too. So, yeah, but definitely feels like we should be getting closer to some baseball here. I got the schedule up right there.
Justin going out. Justin Cleveland.
Justice is, yep, he's going out beginning of March over there with holiday vacations. So, all right, receive or defer. What do you got there, big guy?
Receive or defer. It'll take more than $40 million a year to sign Jordan Love.
Receive.
You do think it'll be $440 million?
Mm-hmm. I feel like if Daniel Jones got that type of a contract, Jordan Love will get that type of a contract too.
The guy from the Giants?
Yeah, that's what he got last year.
$40 million. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It just takes one. Yeah. He signed a 4-year, $160 million contract extension.
I bet the Giants wish they had a do-over.
You think? A little bit, yeah. So right at $40 million per year.
Receiver defer. The Bears are going to draft the quarterback, Caleb Williams from Southern Cal, rather than Justin Fields. I haven't followed. I don't know if they've made any moves in that direction one way or the other, but what do you feel?
I feel like right now I would receive that, although I feel like Washington's going to try to move up to that one spot since they got Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator now. Kingsbury was with USC last year with Caleb Williams. Unless right now Bears hold all the cards. They can ask for a king's ransom or hold on to the pick too. So
what do you think they'll ask?
2 first-rounders at least and some other picks on there and maybe even a player. I mean, last year they traded the first pick and they got DJ Moore and a future first-round pick and another round pick there too. So I think they can even get more this year.
Receiver defer. Even with all those draft picks, the Bears will still finish last in the division.
They were playing well down the stretch at the end of the regular season. They were playing better. See, the wild card to me is Minnesota. What are they going to do at quarterback?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
Would
they move up? Would they try and move up?
That's a good question.
I haven't heard. They're very quiet in what they're going to do. They're not very in the news, so to speak, like a lot of these other teams are.
Because if Minnesota brings back Kirk Cousins, then I would say Chicago last. But if they don't, could Minnesota be last then just because you don't know if it's a rookie quarterback?
Receiver defer. If the Vikings bring back their quarterback, Cousins, he's going to get over $40 million a year.
I'll receive it. It's like a 2-year deal at $40 million per year.
Be interesting, boy. The money flies out for
right.
Oh,
still go play baseball though. Those are guaranteed contracts.
That's right. That's right.
You can get some deferred money on there too, and don't have to work another day in your life after you're done.
Well, Cousins isn't going to be working at Costco anytime soon either.
No. Probably Coles. He loves Coles.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
good. Whatever he likes. But I mean, even these guys that don't have a guaranteed contract, they get part of that money.
Mhm.
He gets $40 million a year for 2 years.
Yeah.
Plays 1 year.
He'll be good.
I was going to say he's not going to be hurting.
Yeah, he'll be good. So, you got any more?
No, go ahead.
Okay, receive or defer. The Bucks in 6 hours from now will have made 2 trades.
I'm going to defer that because I don't think they know exactly what they want
Mhm.
or who's available. We talked earlier about Chris Middleton. Is he going to be healthy enough to trade that somebody wants to take him on, or are we to the point that we're trading contracts more than we're trading players?
Do you think they make 1?
I think they'll make one.
Yeah,
I
I
Oh,
don't
think they
think they'll
make
make
1.
two.
Hours from now. Still kind of quiet. A little kind of. I know there's been other teams that made moves earlier on and such, but it's not like baseball trade deadline or even heck the NFL trade
No,
deadline.
yeah.
Kind of feels like it's flying under the radar here a little bit. So, yeah, I say 1.
That's what I feel.
And I really don't know if it's going to be a big one or not. Like if it's going to be a guy for like Murray, you got to put Portis, Pat, Marjan Beauchamp in a second round pick. That's a lot. But Doc Rivers also has shown so far that he has a short bench. So I don't know. It's tough to gauge,
It
especially
is.
with, and that's the thing they got to figure out too is like, okay,
How much does Doc Rivers have to say in all this? Is he just an
that's the other
interim?
part.
Is
Yeah.
he just an interim coach? They're trying to get him through for this year.
He signed a deal for a couple of years.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
So
he's back in Milwaukee.
that's the other thing though too. I think you'd want to get his feedback, like what works in his system,
Mm-hmm.
right? All right, we'll have some more receiver defer coming up. We've got outdoor tidbits at 8:30. Last call for any questions for Jake. Hit us up with a text. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Third hour kicking off on this Thursday morning. Big thanks for tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in. Coming up at the bottom end, we'll catch up with Jake for Outdoor Tidbits segment. Last call for any questions for Jake. Hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Also dropping at 9 o'clock, another episode of the Rollin' with the Golds podcast, your official UW Eau Claire Blue Golds podcast. Talking with a couple of members from the women's lacrosse team. Their season starts just under a month from now. So that'll be available wherever you listen to your podcasts or at sportstalk1051.com. Last night, the Blue Golds men's basketball team defeating River Falls, women's team falling to River Falls, and in that big-time matchup on the ice, number one River Falls women's hockey, number one River Falls just edging out the Blue Golds 4-3. They will face each other again for the final game of the regular season. But last night's game went to overtime, and that's a long-standing rivalry, and it lived up to that rivalry hype last night. What else do we got going on? I thought I was going to get up to something. No, okay. I thought we might have had some. I was just watching a video. You mentioned the Waste Management opened a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They opened up the gates for fans to sprint to the 16th hole. Like opening up the gates to like Country Jam or something like that.
Yep.
3 dudes were dressed up as the Ninja Turtles. Running out there.
They put about 30,000 people.
It was a
hole.
lot. Yeah.
We're going to have bleachers and everything else.
Yeah, they're like, so they move the gate and they're just like waiting for, the go. And, they're sprinting out there. So.
And what a difference when you get to the Masters.
Yeah.
You start running, they kick you out.
Yep.
You walk at the Masters and you run like H when you get to the Phoenix.
It's so funny. Like these guys are just like, they're stretching and like ready to go there. But it's one of those events too, where it is a PJ event, but it's a little bit more loose. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, that 16th hole. I mean, and these players know it, and I think they appreciate it. They know they're under a lot of pressure on the 16th hole. They don't hit a good shot, man, they get booed right off the course almost.
So I mean, you're talking what? They're 2 hours behind us right now, 2 or 3.
Yeah. Is Arizona 2? I don't know, 1 or 2 behind.
Well, it's still dark over there, and they're running to the hole right now. So, have you been in the Waste Management hole?
Nope, never been there.
I feel like that's like outside the majors, one of the most popular.
Oh yeah.
For fans wise, and that.
Yeah, they made it that way.
Mm-hmm. That's I saw that video. I'm like, geez, careful out there. It's like storming the court. It looks like too. So, is Scheffler golfing in it? He is the defending champ. Is he golfing in it?
I think he's there. Yeah.
Wasn't sure with. Oh yeah, I'm getting him and John Rahm mixed up.
Oh, Rahm's gone.
Yeah, I was thinking John Rahm for a second just because I saw a story.
I watched on cable on Channel 11, whatever that is. I don't know. I see they had the Live tournament on this past weekend, and those guys are good golfers. They're some of the best in the world, but it just doesn't have the vibe of professional golf to me. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Nothing. We are now officially under 6 hours from the NBA trade deadline. 2 p.m. is our time for the trade deadline, and still nothing out there. Nothing to report or anything. So, we'll keep you posted if anything does pop up in the last 50 minutes for this morning. But fairly quiet, and I think a lot of it is though too because Bucks don't have a lot that they can play around with, if you know what I mean.
They don't have a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of assets they could trade. They don't have a lot of money that they can, it is a soft salary cap there, but they don't have a whole lot that they can do. So they're probably, I don't know if deadlines will spur actions. I don't know if it's like a game of chicken where they've got some talks going on and they're going to see who blinks first with this thing. But for some of those teams who are sellers, I feel like the advantage is them. They can wait for that other team if they're that desperate, up the ante a little bit. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, but it's gonna, what kind of activity will Boston be involved in? Will Philadelphia or Miami?
Especially with Joel Embiid being out for a while.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, in the Eastern Division, if none of those other teams, really jump in here in the last few hours and make some major moves, the Bucks probably won't either.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Boston's, they're in the mood big changes. I don't know about Miami. Miami might be, and you never know with Pat Riley down there, what he's going to do. And Philadelphia, like you said, with Embiid being kind of hurt. Cleveland, are they going to try and their salary cap problem, just like the Bucks have? They don't have a lot of money to throw around out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think part of it is going to be how much other teams do from the Eastern Division in these last 6 hours too.
Mm-hmm. Pat Murphy, Brewers manager, answered some questions heading into his first spring training as the skipper for the Brew Crew, longtime bench coach there under Craig Counsell. But he answered some questions through the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel leading into it. One of those questions, now the rotation needs to be remade with Corbin Burnes and Brandon Woodruff having moved on. How challenging is that going to be? Murphy saying they've been pretty good. Those two are a big part of Brewer history, I think, because we're so close to it, we don't realize. Really, since 2018, both those guys have been chipping away and a huge part of the Brewers' success. Are we going to miss them? Hell yes. How do we recover? We're going to figure that out. The only way you can look at it is it's a great opportunity for new guys to step up and do what Woody and Corbin did. Those guys, again, I think people kind of look at this era of Brewers baseball as the most successful, and you can't talk about it and not talk about Corbin or Woody. But they're gone now, much to our disappointment. We would have loved to have hung on to them, but the game of baseball, the business of baseball, doesn't allow that to happen all the time. The unfortunate incident with Woody doesn't allow that to happen the way we wanted it to. But we move on, we adjust, and it'll be a great opportunity for other guys to become the next Woody and Burnes. And then he was asked, what do you think of DL Hall and Joey Ortiz, the players who came back to the Brewers in the Burnes trade? Murphy saying, a lot. I like both these guys. When you do your research about them, and that's what our guys did before they made the move, these are guys that would have been tough to get if we didn't have a guy like Corbin to trade. Ortiz, I got a little history with because he went to New Mexico State, and I know their coach pretty well, and have followed what he's done in the minor leagues and making his debut. What type of guy he is, the way he does things. DL Hall, I mean, everybody knows DL Hall. This guy was talked about, guy coming out of high school in Georgia there. His potential is incredible. So,
you don't win World Series on potential. And I just hope that the Brewers didn't jump too soon on Corbin Burnes. In other words, should they have waited until the season was going on and some of these teams that got involved in the playoffs but needed a little extra help might have been enticed to give a little bit more? Time will tell.
And the flip side of that, too, is you worry about injury if he gets hurt.
Oh, yeah.
It's, or as some people said, look how he kind of pitched at the end of the season. Would his value start, what maybe the Brewers know so. We don't know.
Yeah, because I don't want to say disappointment, but he wasn't what we hoped he would be when it got to the end of the season into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Asked about Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich had a bounce-back season in 2023. Do you foresee him still being the primary left fielder, though, considering all the young outfield talent on hand, or could he see more time at designated hitter? Murphy saying, I think that the DH role in today's game serves a lot of different purposes. Not all teams have a permanent DH that they have penciled in every day. So we have Contreras, and we want him in the lineup as much as possible. He can't catch 160 games, but he's going to try to. So we're going to have to taper that by letting him DH some. Christian is one of our older players, very capable, but his body's got 10 years of major league service on it. We've got to take care of that because we want him in there playing left field. But there'll be times for him to DH. So because the two of them and some of our good young players, Hoskins, coming off of a pretty serious injury and missing the entire year, you're going to want that sometimes at DH. So we're probably not going to have the standard DH. All three of those guys are going to get some time there.
When he says Christian Yelich had a bounce-back season, yeah, it was better than the previous year or two before that, but
this was the writer, not Murphy, to be.
Oh, okay.
That was the writer.
Okay, but even the writer, whoever said that, do you consider that a bounce back season based on what he did earlier and the contract he signed?
I'd say it's a bounce back considering the previous years. Now, is it still living up to the potential? No.
That's what I feel too.
Mm-hmm. So, one of those outfielders is Jackson Chirio, who after signing that big contract will have a lot of pressure on him. What do you see as the biggest challenge for him this spring? Murphy said, I think it's fine to have high expectations. I think you also have to be a little bit realistic with the kid. He's never faced major league pitching, and it's difficult on everybody. It's difficult on the best players in the game, so it's going to be difficult on him, and we've got to be there for him and help him keep making adjustments. And I'm pretty confident he's going to do well. Again, that's kind of one of the questions, whether he's going to be on the opening day roster or
that's what I was waiting
for
him to say there. And you didn't say that.
Yeah. So you can check out I'm trying to Council and the Cubs will be in Maryville the first week of Cactus League play. Have you remained in contact with them? How's your relationship these days? Murphy saying, let's be honest. I mean, Counts and I have going on a 40-year relationship. We're always going to have a relationship. I've known him as a recruited high school kid. I've known him as a college player. I've known him as a minor league player, a major league player, a special assistant, a major league manager. We've stayed in close contact the last 8 years, very close contact. It changes now. We don't work for the same organization, and this is a serious business. This isn't American Legion, so the relationship takes on a little different role. It's a little funky, but I got to be honest, I've got deep respect for him and deep love for him and his family, and probably always will.
And I wouldn't expect him to say anything else.
Yep.
But when you're in opposing dugouts, he's the enemy.
Exactly, right?
Yep.
Can't you don't change how you manage just because you're friends with them.
Absolutely not.
Over there. So one more. One more here. We've got are the internal expectations still, despite the Burns trade, the Brewers are in position to defend their NL Central title. Like I said, my expectations are a lot higher than most people out there. To be quite honest, I know it may sound cliche, but I'm not looking at projected wins, and I'm not worried about what the other teams are doing. I'm sure they're trying to get better, and I'm sure they're making moves that on paper look like this or look like that. I'm not worried about any of the paper moves. I'm worried about when the guys get to camp, if we squeeze as much as we can to prepare them to play a 162-game regular season. And that's cliche, I know, and I'm sorry about that, but it's really based in truth. I'm not worrying about other people's expectations. I'm worried about these guys believing and feeling like they can go out there and perform and keeping them in the present, not worrying about what happened last year or what somebody is predicting for us, keeping them in the present moment and going forward. Kind of really to answer the question there, but I get what he's saying.
Yeah, so do I. But you were talking earlier about other teams in the division. Did Joey Votto retire from Cincinnati?
No, he's free agent.
All right, he could come back, but I don't think anybody in the division really made any headline attention. They, you said what the Cardinals added a couple starting pitchers,
veteran starters, yeah,
and Cody Bellinger is still out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
are the Cubs going to re-sign him?
I think so. I think they're just maybe fighting over a couple million here or there. That eventually will get done.
Well, we'll see if the Ricketts family wants to pay for that sort of thing. They got money, but will they spend it?
They paid for a manager. They haven't done anything after that, really.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. Manager, I don't know. Does the manager win the game? Doesn't hit many home runs.
We'll find out if they don't bring in, or if I guess either way, if they do bring
whatever
in. Whatever
happened to Ross, the manager that left? Is he hooked on with anybody else in baseball, or is he currently out of baseball? Because he was kind of cut off at the knees here at the end of the season when the Cubs went ahead and kind of signed him as a kind of I'm sure he was shocked when he first got the news that he wasn't coming back, because he brought that team along last part of the season. He put them into contention. Yeah. And all of a sudden they bring in Council and you're out, partner.
I don't think he's anywhere right now.
Yeah, because I haven't heard him signing on with anybody to be a bench coach or anything.
No, he's nothing showing up on the Googles out there. So
I think he'll be the first guy called on when one of these managers gets fired by
could be
Father's Day or whatever.
Could be. Yeah, absolutely could be. Wouldn't be still young. He's 46.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
And he did a nice job with the Cubs. I mean, they didn't have a lot of talent.
if Counsell wasn't available, he'd still be managing the Cubs.
Yeah, I believe it.
He'd still be there. So, yeah. I'm excited though. It's a new. Would you classify this as a new era for Brewers baseball? Even
Yeah,
with
I think it
Yelich
is
there and all that, but
yeah, well, with Counsell gone, Burns gone, Woodruff gone. Yeah, I would.
yeah, because we saw some of the youngsters last year, but I think this is where they're going to get like a full season shot.
Yep.
Sal Frelick, and we'll see how much Jackson Cheerio gets and such. But it's a new era. And would you agree with what Murphy said that era from like 2018 and such was the most successful
in Brewer history?
Yeah.
No, I'd go back to the '80s with Yount, Molitor, and Yount, and and some of those guys. They made the World Series, should have won the World Series. Unfortunately, they didn't. But
I would say maybe most consistent.
Yeah, it's close.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun to have a contending team. Go to the ballpark and have a contending team. I hope we can still do that.
5 or 6 or 6 out of 7 in the postseason.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, it was successful. So, I won't argue that. It was successful.
Yeah, you're right.
But it wasn't as much.
It changed the expectations.
And there's no question it changed expectations. But some of the younger fans don't remember back in the '80s when Yount and Molitor and Storm and Gorman and Ben Ogilvy and some of those guys were there. They were a fun team to watch. Harvey's wall bangers, it was a fun team to watch.
Yeah, I mean, my first fun era was probably 07, 08. 08 when Bronny got up, and you had Fielder and JJ Hardy and all that. So hopefully it'll be another successful new era.
Let's hope so.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But I'll be curious to see how Pat Murphy and Ricky Weeks work together. What were the roles with that? Is it going to be a typical Ricky Weeks is like straight up just bench coach? Because he doesn't have the title as bench coach. It's a little bit of a different title. I think is it assistant manager? I'll have to double check. So it's not the normal title, but I think we all just assume that Ricky's probably the coach or manager in waiting at some point. Whether it's going to be in a few years or a couple years.
And he was one of those guys too that you just kept waiting when he was playing. You just kept waiting for him to break out and become great. And he was good for a while, and then he'd be not so good. And he never broke out and became the great player that I think a lot of us thought Ricky Weeks was going to be.
Associate manager. So what's the difference between associate and assistant? Associate sounds a little higher than assistant.
I was going to say maybe
a little bit up there.
Maybe $500,000.
Something like that. So I love this title because I got their coaches out here. Run prevention coordinator. How do you get a job like that? Run prevention coordinator.
Is that a bullpen?
It's like a defensive coordinator in football.
I mean. Yeah.
Major league field coordinator. Okay. And then you got your typical hitting coaches, bullpen coaches, and all that. But yeah, it's like a defensive coordinator position there. Walker McKinven. So, all right. There you go.
There's a lot of titles and a lot of guys on staff that you don't know who they are or what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So, all right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break and we'll do our outdoor tidbits with Mr. Jake Boakes, Wisconsin Conservation Warden. You'll be answering a couple questions. Thank you to those of you who have sent over questions for Jake. We'll get those to him. And then, we'll catch up with him here in a couple minutes and maybe get back to some more hoops talk here. Are we going to get some more rumors or reports surrounding the Bucks? We'll hit that up. Coming up in just a little bit.
diagnosis work? Oh, yeah, it works. Nothing has changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me, makes me cry.
That's the kind of touching story and results you can get, so what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. That's right, weight loss seminar Sunday, February 25th at the Best Western Plus Eau Claire Conference Center in Eau Claire at 11 a.m., registration 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m., registration 1:30. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Get ready and save half with half-off deals. It's a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, February 9th, with Famous Dave's. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Listen, the state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury? Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics' advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk and run and play and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 715-443-4440. 715-443-4440. 715-443-4440.
Mercedes-Benz hasn't just made the electric experience extraordinary. They've made it extra easy, too. The latest Mercedes Me Connect app lets you remotely track, locate, lock, unlock, preheat, pre-cool your vehicle. You can even preset your route and check how much battery power is remaining, all from your smartphone. From the inspired EQE sedan to the boundlessly capable EQS SUV, every vehicle in the Mercedes-Benz electric portfolio comes equipped with the latest generation of AI-powered MBUX voice command technology on board. Whatever it is you need, whether it's a faster way to reach your destination, the location of the nearest fast charging station, or the best coffee shop in the area, they have it. All you have to do is say, "Hey, Mercedes." The vehicles are all electric, the feeling all Mercedes. The choice is all yours. Test drive a Mercedes-Benz electric model today at your local dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/EQ.
Do you know of anyone who needs some help chasing their dreams and passions? Backyard Dreams wants to help. Email us at info@sportstalk1051.com so we can help.
Answering your questions and giving you the tips you need to be successful and safe in the outdoors. It's time for your Outdoor Tidbits. Have a question you'd like answered by Jake? Send it to us, and we'll ask for you.
It is time for our Outdoor Tidbits with Mr. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden for the great state of Wisconsin. And Jake, how you doing this morning, bud?
It's a good morning.
Yeah?
I mean, it's a little rainy, but it's nice. Nice Thursday.
Yeah. I got to ask, I mean, ice conditions, that's the big topic out there, too. A lot of open water starting to creep up right now.
Yeah, everywhere, every lake's a little bit different. So you're going to have to, do a little scouting report or do some test holes when you're going out on lakes. I saw a Facebook post that Chautauqua had some open spots in the middle of the lake here and there. Altoona, I don't know what the ice thickness is, but this weekend there's a few people walking around, no UTVs, ATVs, anything like that. And then the rivers are opening up. I know the Mississippi's open again. Obviously, the Chippewa is open. So, there's a lot less ice than there was a week ago, and, it's going to cool down, but I don't think enough to really save our ice season here.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, sticking with fishing, we had a listener question asking, if I take my kid fishing, he's 5 years old, does his fishing pole count as one of my 3 fishing poles?
That's a good question. So, everyone in the state of Wisconsin, no matter what their age, is entitled to 3 lines or 3 hooks, lures, however you want to say it. When you're under 16, you can have your own, and as a parent, their kids can have your own, but they have to be actively engaged in fishing. So if you have a kid that's out there with his cousins or brothers and sisters and running around and playing in the snow and doing other stuff besides just fishing, it's not a bad idea to include it in your 3. That way, if you get checked and your kid's running on the other side of the lake and you got 6 lines out, then you're not overlining. But if your kid is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old and he's sitting there and he's trying to check tip-ups with you, he doesn't have to be manhandling it himself. You can help him and everything like that. But if they're actively engaged in fishing, they get their own 3 lines too.
All right. So that Snoopy pole could be yours, or make sure it's your kiddos over there too. So
yeah, and the big thing we see, especially like summertime, is we'll be out patrolling on the lake and we look over and there's a dad or a mom or a grandparent out fishing with the Snoopy pole at the end of the dock. And then we get up to check their license and they don't have a fishing license and they say their kids fishing or their grandkids fishing or something like that. And we're like, well, where are they? And they're like, oh, they just ran inside. Well, they're not there fishing, especially if you're casting and retrieving with the Scooby-Doo pole or the Snoopy pole.
Mhm.
So at that point, you're fishing, even though it's a kid's pole. So, when you're with kids, I got a couple young kids that like it. You can give them their own lines and everything. Just make sure they're actively engaged or they're in the area.
So good idea too. Even though if you don't maybe fish a whole lot, but you got a grandkid or that does want to go fishing, probably safe just to get a fishing license for yourself too, right?
Yeah, and that's another part of it is you don't have to have a fishing license to help someone fish, whether it's an adult or a kid or anything like that. If you're just helping, baiting some hooks, taking off some fish, maybe even casting so it can get out far enough, so the kid has a chance to actually catch a fish, that's fine. You don't need a license. But like you mentioned, it's only $20 for the whole year from April 1st through March 31st. So for $20, you're covered if you ever have an opportunity to fish or they leave for a little bit and you can sit there and fish on your own.
Mm-hmm. Jake, you mentioned spring hearings too coming up here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so if everyone remembers, we used to have the spring hearings for COVID where basically the wardens would kind of run it. We'd started off with the Conservation Congress talking, and then the wardens would read through all the questions. Everyone would answer any questions from the public, and then you could vote. It's coming back in person this year. So on April 8th, every county, I can't remember if it's 6:30 or 7 or what time it exactly starts, but every county on April 8th is going to have a DNR spring hearing. It's going to be similar to the open houses last year, where basically you come in, you can network or BS with people, and then the Conservation Congress will hold their voting right away. And then instead of like the wardens just reading through all the questions, each program is going to do like a local update. So like here in Eau Claire, myself or Ryan Lowry will talk about local law enforcement warden stuff. We'll have Terry, the biologist, talking about wildlife. We'll have probably Joseph Gerbishek talking about fisheries. So every program will do theirs, including forestry and maybe like an overall DNR update. And then each program will take their questions, so if like wildlife has 20, fisheries has 10, each program's lead will read through them, answer any questions from the public. And then I believe you're going to be able to vote right there on that night. But we're still kind of, and I don't know if it's going to be hard copy or if you're going to, I'm assuming everything's online now, so you can vote on your phone while you're sitting there.
All right. So,
but we'll go through it.
So this might be for anybody who kind of wants to maybe kind of have some input or give some ideas. This is maybe kind of an opportunity to do that too.
This is the opportunity. I mean, you can always reach out to your local legislator, call the DNR, but this has always been kind of billed as like, this is your chance to come in, speak with your local DNR staff, give your, vote on different potential law changes, give your opinion on different changes or biological data and stuff like that. So this is kind of like that community night where you can go out and have your voice be heard and talk to your local staff too.
Interesting. Now you mentioned the Conservation Congress. I always thought that was kind of interesting because people can actually run to be on that, right?
Right. Yeah. So every county's got their own delegates and such, and they help make decisions locally on different things and run some of the meetings like this and give some advisory questions or kind of work with the Natural Resource Board and stuff like that. So if you're interested in, kind of like a city council or something, but for, your local DNR stuff.
Mm-hmm. I might have to look at that. I want to be a congressman there.
Yeah. And the reason, I brought it up to talk with you about it today is it's kind of like CDAC. If people are, familiar with the county deer advisory councils, all of these are designed to be public forward, to have people come in and talk and discuss DNR stuff. But there's been a kind of a lack of that unless there's a real hot topic. So I really encourage people, like, it's your time to come out and meet the wardens and meet your biologists and listen to the questions and data and stuff like that, and talk to other sportsmen and women in the area.
Absolutely. Did you have one?
Well, Jake, nothing to do with fishing or deer or anything like that. But we're getting a little rain this morning. And I don't know how involved you are in this, but burning permits and burning right now. Are we banning burning? Are we not issuing permits? Are we issuing permits? What's the status? Pretty dry out there.
It is pretty dry. I don't know the answer to that, unfortunately. Okay. The best thing to do is call like our Augusta Ranger station.
Yep.
Augusta Ranger Station. Talk with Jed or the Rangers down there, or reach out to your county and find out what it is, because there are some different units. There's like the intensive unit, the extensive unit, all this kind of stuff, and a lot of those burning permits are on the east side of the county, not so much over here, but your local municipality might have some sort of ordinance on burning and all this kind of stuff. So the best thing to do is whatever township you're in, reach out to the town board or go to their website and check for ordinances, and then go to the state DNR website and just type in wildfires or burning permits, and there's a lot of data on it.
I know,
but it is dry. It is dry. There's no doubt about it.
I know. When I was coming back from the airport last week, never saw this in end of January. In St. Croix County, the county crew was mowing the ditch banks.
Wow.
They weren't out with the snow plows or anything. They were mowing the grass in the ditch banks in January. So it's dry and it's brown, so be careful.
I know, it's crazy. I've seen that too. They're out brushing and everything.
Yep.
Probably just getting some of that work they could do in the spring and summer, just getting it done now because they can.
Absolutely. Yep. I know we got a little bit yet, but maybe just because I thought of this and I had to look it up. Any spring turkey leftovers, those go on sale next month, but I just wanted to kind of put that out there for everybody too. So those will go on sale.
No, it's good. I mean, a lot of people are talking about it, thinking about it because it's been so warm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're still another month away from the bonus harvest or bonus authorizations and everything like that. I haven't seen any numbers on them to see how many people have got it, but a few weeks ago there was a question about why should I put in for the $3 permit if I don't get picked? I don't know if you remember that, Dan.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't think we addressed it, but the big thing is just if you're if you really want a turkey on, you really want to try to get that first and second season, it is important, to try and six, because it gives you that lottery drawing for the first parts of the season, because everyone wants usually the first, second, or third week. So for only $3, you get your name in the hat and have a lot better chance at getting what you want. But there are times, there's a lot of turkeys, but there's also a lot of hunters. So there are times where you might go a year or two or three even without getting a tag, even your top three choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's a lot of hunters out there, and a lot of people really want that first and second season.
Yeah, just really quick, because I have them up for A and B. those first two time frames, each zone, there's nothing available. So
Yeah, I can't remember a year where they've ever had any availability come the bonus time for A and B. So your minimum going to have a couple thousand maybe for C, and then you're probably going to more or less get D, E, or F, which you can still harvest turkeys. There's no doubt about it, but you kind of miss that prime breeding part and where the turkeys are a little bit dumber.
right.
Call them in a little bit easier.
Hey, Jake, a quick question. I don't know if you get down into that area, but that elk herd down in Jackson County, the story here the last few weeks, somebody, shot a couple of cows and they have found them. Any update on that or has it been enough who did it or what the more circumstances are? I just caught it when I got back.
Yeah, no, my name's plastered on that press release. So I'm a part of that. My team covers Jackson County. So the reason we did a press release, so those were off of 2022 cow elk that were shot. We did a press release back in 2022, but we just wanted to throw it out there one more time because we did get a lot of tips and stuff from the public, which is great. But we also, we ran them down and just didn't get the information. It just didn't pan out the way we were hoping. We got some good info and followed up on some stuff and talked with some people, but overall, they're still technically unsolved, like exactly what happened. So we wanted to just throw it out there in case anyone was sitting on information or their conscience has been kind of bugging them for the last year. If they want to talk with us, accidents happen. We know elk get shot during deer drives and stuff like that, and if that's the case, we can work through it. But if you shot an elk and people know you shot it and you kind of sit on it and hide it, it's only a matter of time before the law catches up with you, and then you're really going to get in trouble if you don't self-report it. So we put it out there for that, and then also just for the simple fact of really trying to make sure that there's awareness that we have a lot of elk down in that Black River area. There's probably going to be a hunting season down there pretty soon, if not this year. So I'm not on those talks, but I know it's imminent. So there's a lot of elk there, and we just want to continue to let people know, like, they're out there, be careful, try not to shoot one, and if you see something, say something.
Yeah, if you're down in that area and you get invited to a wild game feed and elk is a featured meat, it might be something. It might be a problem, huh?
There might be some questions on where that elk came from.
Nice. Jake.
So, yeah.
No, I was just going to say we appreciate the time as always, buddy. Great stuff, man. And let's do it again next week, okay?
No, that sounds great. Thanks, guys.
You got it. There you go. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden for the state of Wisconsin.
And be careful. I was bowling last night. I was talking to a couple guys. I said, what are you going to do tomorrow? Going ice fishing.
Ooh.
Be careful.
Yeah, be careful. Bring a life, like Jake said earlier this season.
Yeah.
Bring a life vest.
Well, I mean, we're beyond the point now of, a plank in the back seat or in the back of the pickup to walk out to the ice. I mean, we're beyond that. Be very careful.
Yep. All right, let's take a break, and then we'll wrap up shop. We'll get intern's pick for his Super Bowl picks and predicts coming up after these quick words. Sometimes you just need a little me time. And what makes your me time better is a great cup of coffee in a relaxing and cozy environment. That's exactly what you will get when you visit Cabin Coffee in Altoona. Why settle for that low quality coffee for your me time when you can have a freshly brewed brew with many different flavor options located right in your own backyard? Hey, need a bite to eat during that me time? Cabin Coffee has you covered as well with a menu filled with breakfast, lunch, and bakery items. Having a good cup of coffee just instantly puts us in a good mood. That is, if you go get your coffee from Cabin Coffee. Take a little me time and visit Cabin Coffee in Altoona, located right in the River Prairie area, and experience what quality coffee really is. I got a texter asking about that Conservation Congress. I did find a link, so I will text that on over to you. Kind of cool to be on a Congress, huh?
Well, it is, and
yeah.
it's nice that the public is being heard from on these issues. It's
Yep.
not top down. Here's how you're going to do it. It's like anything else. The people that are doing it should have a say in how it's done and why it should be done the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these pontifications from on high fall on deaf ears so many times because they're not practical. And so I applaud the DNR for
Yep.
and any
Absolutely.
organization that includes users in the decision making.
I want to be on a board of directors. I want to try that once.
Not all it's cracked up to be.
No, depends on which one, maybe too.
Well.
Yeah. Hey, also before we get to some picks here, we're working on a station vehicle for sports talk. It's gonna be kind of like your farm truck. We're gonna have the available because we go out quite a bit, events and that.
Yeah.
We're looking for some sponsors on that too. So
Very
that'll be a
good.
lot of fun there too. So, but I am looking for a nickname for this vehicle. Don't like the Dan van. Somebody said that. I don't like the Dan van. We're gonna have a little nickname with this.
You don't want
so.
a van anyway.
It's not a van. So
No, you don't want a van.
No. But we're having some fun and having a nickname for this. Do you have a nickname for your farm truck? We got to get a nickname for the farm truck, man.
A moneymaker.
I was
No, we
thinking it was
don't
like
have
Betsy or something like that.
I don't think we do unless somebody gave it a nickname.
What the-
I never did. We
Black
can-
Betty. It's Black
well,
Truck,
yeah,
Black
it's a
Betty.
black
So
truck.
there
yeah.
you go.
No, it's,
Cruising on down.
And it
so.
is nice to get out and you got a lot
Yep.
of sponsors' names on there, so people that are riding along with you. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, because we do a lot of remote shows and such. So we're gonna hit the road. Maybe we're going to the draft too next year. So get
You
that
bet.
one
You
cruising
want it
over
front
there.
and center.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So you ready to get your name? I got the marker. Picks and Predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room here in Eau Claire. Looking for somewhere to catch the game on Sunday. Go check out the Elbow Room. They carry man cave lights. If you're cheering for the Niners, they got plenty of Niners swag up on the walls over there too, with your Packers and Brewers and Bucks swag up there. But who you rolling with there, big guy?
Well, I am rolling with the 49ers.
All right, I'm going to write you up there.
Even though I don't think the 49ers deserve to be there after the games against the Packers and the Lions, which I think some major mistakes were made by both organizations. But I'm looking at the Niners with Boza, Chase Young on the corners, and Warner, the linebacker, that triangle. Their mission should be to keep Patrick Mahomes within that triangle. And I think if they do, they can really slow down that Kansas City offense. If they don't, all bets are off.
Mm-hmm. Our marker board picks are right now majority going with the Niners.
Oh, they are? I didn't look.
Right now. So we'll have a bunch more up tomorrow. And that's like Dr. Crow, and we'll get Joe from Cabin Coffee, his pick on there too, when we talk to him here in a little bit. But right now, the edge is 49ers. So.
Yeah, and I think as far as coaches that have an influence in this game, I think Spagnuolo, Kansas City's defensive coordinator, what's he going to do with Brock Purdy? Is he going to make him uncomfortable and bring the house an awful lot of times like he does? Is he going to confuse him? So, I think it could be a really good game. But I think if 49ers can control Mahomes in that triangle, I think the 49ers should be able to win. McCaffrey, I think, is just out of this world a great player. I mean, for the 49ers to give him, it's like the Celtics almost getting Drew Holiday. How in the world did they get McCaffrey away from Carolina for what they gave up.
It's funny
that's
you said that.
unbelievable.
Hudson just asked me that the same thing the other day. He's like, why did Carolina give up Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Well, that's why Carolina is Carolina.
mhm.
You know, they just don't understand what they had in McCaffrey. This guy he's unbelievable.
Mhm.
He really is. And he could be the X factor for their offense.
Yep.
And how Kansas City is going to deal with him remains to be seen. It should be a good game.
Mhm.
A lot of irons in the fire that could change this game. It's not like it's just the quarterbacks. It's going to be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. A couple more picks before we let you go here. We've got let's do a couple of NBA games here before we get to the Bucks and Timberwolves one. Mavericks visiting the red hot New York Knicks. Dallas actually favored in this game by 4.5.
Randall playing? Randall's been hurt. Josh Randall. If he's not playing, then I'm taking the Dallas.
He's not.
Then I'm not taking.
Well, I'm saying he's not on the injury report right now.
Oh, isn't he? Because he's been out with some hurts. But if he's back in full speed, and they're playing at the Garden,
looks like they're playing it. Julius Randle is. Yeah, he is out. Okay, so I had to click on because they have more people on there, so it's a full list up there. So
okay, so no, then I will not take the Knicks.
I'm still going to go with the Knicks.
All right.
I'm still going to roll with the Knicks here. How about Nuggets Lakers? Denver favored by 3.5.
Yeah, Denver. I like Jokic. I just think the way he plays is so unique. The guy doesn't look like he's coordinated enough to tie his shoes, but he can shoot, he can pass, he can rebound, he can handle the ball.
Yep. He's
a difference maker, and should have been MVP last year. I think they gave it to Embiid just because it's about time to give it to him. But the Joker, I think, is such a unique player and so much fun to watch.
Nuggets, I agree with you. Then the game that we're going to be paying attention to, reminder, you can listen to it at 105.1 FM and 790 AM, tip time at 7 p.m. The Timberwolves visiting the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks are favored by 1.5. Bucks 21-5 at home this year. Timberwolves 16-11 on the road.
I'm going to take the Bucks. I'm going to hope Doc is starting to get the defense together. I mean, I know they've got Gobert and they've got Towns and they've got some
Anthony Edwards.
They got some good big guys, but I'm still taking the Bucks.
Dame should play. Brooks sounds like he's back. Middleton's going to be out. I think this is one of those games where maybe on paper it looks like the Bucks shouldn't win because of how everything's going, but I think they win. I'll roll with the Bucks tonight with a big win. Finally.
I hope Brooks Lopez is back.
Yeah.
Brooks Lopez is back.
Yep. So I will roll with the Bucks, but I think it's a close game. I think
it'll be a close game, and I hope it's not 140 to 137.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. Those are some of the picks. Still nothing yet on any trade rumors or rumblings, but we're countdown is on 5 hours from now. We'll see if
no trades to mention this morning from anybody in the league.
Not yet. Nope. So, kind of quiet.
And I'm wondering about the Lakers. Are the Lakers confident that they can, first of all, make the playoffs? And second of all, do any damage? I know they're built for the playoffs, but they got to get there. Mm-hmm. And they don't have a lot of players outside of Anthony Davis and LeBron that are difference makers at all.
Right.
I mean, they come and they go, they play a good game or two or three, and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Lakers are going to go very far. I think it's won his last championship.
I do too. Do you think he finishes his career in the Loud?
Yeah, because he's got so many business interests out there that, he wants to be in entertainment and show business. I think although, he can get back there in a minute with a helicopter or a plane or whatever the case may be, but I think he wants to be headquartered in L.A. Well,
we'll see where.
I don't think it's draft.
No.
Nobody's going to draft him.
No.
So I think LeBron is going to be staying there.
I agree with you. All right. I think that's all we got to here this morning. So there we got it. We got you on the marker board.
Don't forget. Is he going? Where did I see he was going to go someplace and play?
That's not out there yet.
Oh, isn't it? I thought I saw somebody. Oh, must have been from Marty Green. So
is that where you got your Jimmy Leonard thing there too with
no,
Buffalo?
that was
Because
on
he
TV.
ain't going anywhere
that was
either.
On TV.
So.
That was watching the game.
Mike
on
Vrabel
TV.
might be helping out the Badgers this year, though.
Oh yeah, he's an Ohio State guy.
He's his buddies with Luke Fickell, roommates.
Yeah.
But Luke Fickell mentioned yesterday that he's hoping Vrabel is coming up, but maybe some speculation, could he be that analyst role that Jimmy Leonard was with Illinois last year?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of cool for the Badgers to get that.
Well, get him on the practice field and teach these linebackers how, because they were really weak at linebacker last year. And the one kid transferred to Michigan State, and if he can help the linebackers, because traditionally Wisconsin, great linebacker core. You look at the guys that are in the NFL now that played linebacker the Badgers in the last 8-10 years. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And this last year was such a disappointment at linebacker. So if he can help that part of the defense, that would be a real bonus.
You might want to go watch the Phoenix Open right now. This is the PGA Tour even tweeting out this video saying, "Good morning from the Waste Management Phoenix Open, a dude wearing a wedding dress." So they're even embracing it. PGA Tour is. So
got some retired sports talk.
All right. Have a good rest of your day. We'll be back at tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.